Harry Maguire with Simon Stone. So Ian Dennis and Paul Robinson inside the stadium are with us. Michael Brown in the studio with me. Laurie Whitwell, Manchester United correspondent for The Athletic, joins us as well. What does it tell you, Laurie, that probably the three best performers under Amorim are the three most experienced players in Maguire, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes?
I suppose it suggests that their quality is enduring, and obviously they've been through quite a lot of turbulent times at United, and here they are performing in a hopefully European final from a United point of view. I think they've obviously had key moments. I think their sort of mentality has shone through in this competition, certainly. I know the Premier League form is abysmal, but they've made big contributions in this run to the final, and I think that shows the kind of character that they've got really above everything else.
Are the three of them key for Amorim, Michael?
I think so. I think Casemiro would come under a lot of criticism. I think the pace, the style suits him in these positions. I think Bruno Fernandes, I've talked so much about him when we've been covering live games about how he's dragged the team through. He's a leader on and off the pitch. He sets examples around the dressing room. I hear so many good things about Bruno Fernandes. At times when he was first come to the football club, I was a bit unsure about what he did, about out of possession, etc. And I feel like he's demanded the captaincy, that aura, what he's delivered for them. I think he's been exceptional. And for Harry Maguire, I mean, we discussed it on the Football News Show today. I can't say so many good things about him, because what he went through as a player, he was getting ridiculed, he was getting laughed at, he couldn't get near Manchester United's team. Where does he go? What next for him? He could have left the football club. He stuck through it, he stayed quiet, he's delivered so many times, and when he got that late goal at Old Trafford, I just felt it's another occasion that he's dug them out of something that they shouldn't be involved in, and I think he's set a wonderful example for any young player, and I'm delighted he's playing, and I'm glad he's going so well. His confidence, you can hear in his speech, seems to be right back to where it was, and he's enjoying his football. And if you ever see that things can change at a football club where you never thought it can, he's a very much a leading example of that.
This system suits him though, doesn't it? This system really suits him. I think he's had criticism in the past about his slow on the turn and his pace, but I think playing with three at the back and having Luke Shaw tonight, Lenny Yoro either side of you, I think as that central figure in a three, he's got the protection around him, and he can be a leader, he can be a captain. Everything in front of him he can see, and he doesn't like things when it's played down the side or in behind, and that back three gives him the protection of the players either side. As with the midfield, with Casemiro, with the likes of Fernandes next to him and the two wing-backs pushing on, they've got legs and players around them to help them in those positions. I just think it suits Harry Maguire playing in the three.
He got a contract by default. Do you know, they had to give him an extension because there was nothing to go. He wouldn't even be at the football club.
Casemiro, Ruben Amorim said he's improved a lot. We have the data to show him where he works really hard. He is a very good example. We understand that he cannot jump all the time pressing high. Sometimes it's better to put three defenders, let him be the fourth, and put the wing-backs pressing high. These are all things we are understanding and trying to cope with all the criticisms of the team. But the credit is for Casemiro. If you widen that out a bit, Laurie, do you think Amorim has made his mind up on the majority of this United squad going into the summer?
I think he probably has, and it is interesting seeing Garnacho on the bench, because I asked Amorim yesterday about the starting lineup and how much extra time would be a factor in the players that he picked, and he said, no, I want my strongest 11 out there that I think can win the match quickly. So, what does that mean for Garnacho? I'm sure he'll be disappointed not to be starting the game. Kobbie Mainoo, likewise. These are players that there are sort of question marks over in terms of how they fit into Ruben Amorim's system, what he thinks of them himself. And certainly, I suppose he's gone for, as we touched on earlier, that experience, that quality in European finals. Casemiro's got that, Harry Maguire's got that with England, Bruno Fernandes previously, even Mason Mount obviously won, a Champions League with Chelsea, so I wonder if that's got him included in this particular match. But I think that come the summer, there will be some big decisions to make. Obviously, they're already in talks with a couple of players, Matheus Cunha and Liam Delap, in terms of potential attacking options. So I think Amorim, the decision's already been made, but I feel like this final could still yet provide a little bit of evidence as to which way Amorim goes from a few other players.
Who is sanctioning and making the decisions on those players that are already being linked, Laurie. I mean, there were reports over the weekend that Ratcliffe wants assurances Amorim will stay before sanctioning summer spending. That would imply Amorim's driving everything, despite the fact that you've got Jason Wilcox there and somebody else who's meant to be head of transfers and this, that and the other. So the structure's all over the place again, is it?
I think it's still being worked through. I mean, Christopher Favell is the head of recruitment. He's got more status now. Jason Wilcox certainly has got more status as technical director. Omar Barada, I just saw him earlier pitchside talking with Ratcliffe and also Avram Glazer, with Sir Alex Ferguson a few yards away, soaking it all up. So Barada's a key influence at United. Obviously, he's very close with Ruben Amorim. He was perhaps the integral figure in Amorim being here. But Amorim is certainly part of the transfer discussions, and I suppose that's why they want absolute, guarantees that he will continue. He will. He's made that clear. I think he's certainly, been emotional throughout this process as well. And whether he's said stuff publicly, hasn't he, that has kind of brought a little bit of question mark over whether he wanted to continue. But I think, getting to this point.
Do you think there'll be times when he hasn't wanted to continue?
I sense that, to be honest, from his public statements. He said at one point that the sack could be liberating for a coach, which was pretty strong stuff. He's mentioned it before. If we don't succeed, they'll look to change manager. If they want me to change my ideas, I'll walk away. That kind of stuff. So he's been pretty punchy. I think they knew what they were getting in for when they actually appointed him. But nevertheless, once he's actually in the building, you want that collaboration. You want that absolute certainty that he's going to be your guy. So listen, I suppose a defeat here is unthinkable for United. What will that then mean for the relationships at the club? But if they win, it just provides that breathing space, that little bit of platform for him to go and assert his authority even more.
Were you coming in, Michael?
No, I was just wondering and listening, to that policy. Omar Baradi, obviously very organised. He knew exactly what he wanted. He knew his man. But him and Jason Wilcox very much will be making key decisions. It's just like we say again, that's three people in a football club. But if you have an owner, we've talked about it so many times, he says, well, he wants reassurances about whether the manager's going to stay. But it's maybe because of some of his decisions, the owner's decisions, that we're having even these chats, these doubts. I mean, he's got to let these guys get on with it. I don't know if you agree with that.
I totally do, Michael. I mean, you look at the Dan Ashworth saga, waited all that time for him to come in, and then 5 months down the line, he's gone. I think that was obviously majorly to do with the personality clash with Ratcliffe and maybe him feeling like he wasn't getting what he thought he was getting, but also, other people at the club, United, being able to, flex their muscles a little bit. Barada and Wilcox obviously gained status in Ashworth's departure, so but they obviously have to get this absolutely clear because it's a huge summer, and we've said this repeatedly. I know Chappers, you and I have had these conversations where it's felt like it's sort of the same thing every year, but
for about 6 years, I think. For about 6 years, Laurie, we've been having it.
Is this a private group chat? Is it? Or
no.
Is it an open one, or do you meet every weekend, or anywhere in particular?
It's like a support group we have together, basically. What changes if they win tonight? What changes if they lose tonight?
I mean, from a purely financial point of view, they get a lot more money. I think it's something like £85 million for qualifying for the Champions League as a bare minimum, whereas in the Europa League it's like half that if you go on and win the whole thing. And then also, I mean, that does on the flip side mean that a lot of wages will go up. 25%, they'll go back up to the full kind of packet that they agreed to before the chop came in. So even the likes of Marcus Rashford and Anthony, those kind of guys, they'll get a pay bump. But it does mean that United have got more flexibility in the market. It means that players that were perhaps debating whether to join United would probably have a big reason to do so. And as I say, I think it just gives Amorim that stamp of approval. It's a piece of silverware. United have only won 5 European trophies in their history up to this point. So for him to be able to say that he's a 6th European champion with United, I know it's a second-tier competition, but I still think it'll be cherished by United fans, and it'll sort of give him a bit of authority with the players in terms of what he wants from them.
Before we let you go, do you think United are a bit miffed that this is seen as all about the money for them and all about the trophy for Tottenham?
No, because I think they are. I mean, when you've got Ratcliffe at the top of the club making such swinging changes, redundancies, I think finances come into absolutely everything. But I do think they'll absolutely celebrate this title if they are able to get it over the line.
Thank you, Laurie. Laurie Whitwell.
Cheers,
from The Athletic with us. Describe what you can see, Ian.
Well, we've just had the two anthems that have been played. Away to my right, we've got the bulk of the Tottenham Hotspur supporters, so many of them are wearing their replica white shirts. There's a smattering of navy in there as well, but we had the white and navy flags that were flying whilst Spurs were marching in. And then we had Country Road from Manchester United away towards our left-hand side with their red, white and black flags that are continuing to fly. This ground holds around 53,000. It's a very impressive stadium. It's a bowl-like arena, two-tiered, but they've only made 49,000 tickets available, and of those 49,000, it was just under 15,000 allocation for each of the two finalists. So you've got 30,000, or roughly 30,000, just under, who have gone through the official channels. You're looking at around another 19,000 that have been made to corporates or the general public. So we'll wait to see what the balance lies, but it's certainly an atmosphere that has been building rather nicely since they were allowed into the stadium here in Bilbao.
Won't be long until the teams come out here. We're 10 minutes away from kick-off. We talked a bit about United there from an off-the-field point of view. Let's focus a little bit more on the match now. What do Tottenham need to do tonight to beat United for a fourth time this season, Paul?
Well, obviously what they've done in the previous three games, but I think they've got to be attacking and on the front foot. I said to you earlier about United enjoying playing in Europe because the pace was slower and the style suited them. Actually, when Tottenham press them high and they get in their faces, that's what they've not enjoyed playing against. We're playing Papsar, Basuma and Bentancur tonight as a holding midfield three, if you like. I'm not so sure that's what he's thinking, Ange Postecoglou. He's maybe looking at the result they got in Frankfurt, the result that they got in Bodo, thinking we can actually be a bit more defensively robust and then allow the likes of Brennan Johnson and Richarlison to attack in those wide areas. I think the midfield area is going to be key. We spoke about that, and we spoke about Mason Mount from a Manchester United point of view dropping into those areas. And it's about the fullbacks. Tottenham fullbacks historically this season, they just fly forward. Pedro Porro and Udogie, there's no kind of defensive responsibility when Tottenham are in possession, and they get caught out so many times on the turnover of possession with their fullbacks out of possession. With Ahmed on the field tonight, that could cause them a real problem. He could be a game changer.
Rob, I still think Spurs can go on and press in that situation. The front three can go, they can leave two more, they can still have a hold in midfield just in case they want to just clip it over into Hoyle, and Manchester United might have that out ball. So I feel like they're not that comfortable under a press. They try to do it in Bilbao, as I mentioned. I think that's what sets it up. I feel like they've got to, at times, Manchester United have to just maybe play over it and then get from there. They've got to get Ahmed a little bit wider at times, not to just be inside. Udogie coming inside, Porro as well. That'll be a little bit of danger from Spurs.
And I was fortunate enough to see one of each of their semi-finals, and there was a noticeable change. There was no playing out from the back, there was no taking goal kicks, centre-halves passing to goalkeepers. Onana, Vicario, the goalkeepers were going longer. They got free kicks inside their own half that Tottenham were actually setting up in Bodo around Solanke. They were hitting areas, and they weren't apologising for actually playing a lot longer and more direct and not putting the ball at risk in the back areas.
Well, the week before the cup final, Crystal Palace ripped Tottenham apart at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A side who play the same 3-4-3, but what they did in that game, Paul, was they were able to get the ball up to their front men and then out wide, and they had wide men. In the main, they're wing backs, but Munoz on one side, but it may have been Eze or Sarr on the other, who just took advantage of acres of space behind Tottenham's fullbacks. United aren't as dynamic, are they?
No, Crystal Palace are a better team. You look at the season that Crystal Palace have had, and you look at what Oliver Glasner's done without going off topic, and how well coached they are. You can look at Crystal Palace and you can see what they do on the training ground. When Oliver Glasner came in there last year, I know me and Deno spoke about this before, Ruben Amorim's been struggling to get this three at the back working for Manchester United. Oliver Glasner went straight into Crystal Palace, changed it to three at the back, and those players got that, and that system, it caused Tottenham a problem. But in all honesty, I do not think we can compare the Premier League form of either of these two sides, because they've given up on it. They've given up on the Premier League.
Look at the personnel that day. For Spurs, Odegaard, we had Spence at left back, we had Davies, Danso, Archie. It's not the same team. So we can see it, we can understand the systems and the setup and what you're putting ahead of them, but we can't fully take that as a true sort of comparison.
If I can just chip in with a little bit more colour, we've got some dancing going on in the centre circle on the Europa League branding, which is in orange and black. We've got the two club crests now, which are being waved around by the volunteers in their white t-shirts, and the club motto, Tottenham to the right, to dare is to do, and the Manchester United motto, it reads, take me home. And also, we just had a tifo in the Manchester United end, high up in the top tier away towards our left, that said we've seen it all, and it was a reminder of the 5 European trophies that they've won in their illustrious European history.
I mean, we talk about, and Paul mentions, Michael, the 3 sort of running midfielders that Tottenham have gone for, with maybe sacrificing a little bit of creativity. I read the Ruben Amorim quote earlier. Mason Mount is in there to actually provide an auxiliary body in the midfield as well, for all the other reasons he may be in. But Amorim's also thinking slightly defensively there too.
Yeah, he is. He sees as another option. I think somebody who's intelligent, Mason Mount, who understands those spaces. I think still as well, it's still questionable, isn't it? That sort, I would say, is a Casemiro, Mount, Fernandes midfield getting the ball back is a little bit light still. We understand that, and I think that'll be something that Spurs will try to be capitalising on. But again, it's always, isn't it, and when you set up like this, it's a situation where who can be braver? Do you get the reward by doing it? I feel an Ange Postecoglou's side, who have been a little bit more sort of pragmatic in their sort of displays, I feel like are still going to have to go on and press. I think they've got to take the chance. They've got to get after Manchester United very, very early.
Rio said exactly the same thing on TNT, Michael. He said it'll be a missed opportunity if Spurs sit back. If they sit off and allow United to have the ball, that's a missed opportunity, and that will be the best case scenario for United.
How can we argue with Rio? Obviously, he knows the way around it. But
I think he's obviously listened to you.
Yeah, I think so. I've been mentioning that for quite a while, to be honest. But on a situation, you've got to give it a go. I don't feel like you want to let Manchester United settle into the game to go and move the ball around, building confidence, because you just look at certain players can hurt you. But I was just looking back, and Deno mentioned the stadium, getting some clips now. It just looks sensational, doesn't it? What a setting, what a final. It's just, I'm so excited for this game.
The other thing that plays into this as well, just as a final one before we answer them, Michael, is that both teams have had the capacity this season to make a right mess of things, even when in good positions. And so even if one of them goes Tottenham in the League Cup went 4-1 up, I think, and nearly blew it against United. And that adds the extra level into this as well.
Well, I think one thing we do know, if Spurs take that sort of lead, it's not over. But I hope we're not going to be discussing one team really messing it up. I think that's what's going to be the biggest disappointment, that we get a true race, a true equal fight for the trophy. And I mean, can you call it? I think it's really, really tight, this situation, and I genuinely mean that. It's just really, really tough one to call.
Tough one to call. Goodness knows what's going to happen over the next 2 hours. I mean, literally anything could happen tonight. That's the sense you get with this Europa League final, an all-English European final in Bilbao. Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United. Two teams with woeful Premier League records, but two teams on the verge of a trophy, on the verge of a Champions League spot next season. In the stadium in Bilbao with both teams out, let's join former England goalkeeper Paul Robinson and Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Mark. The 6th all-English European final. Red and white flags flying high away towards our left. We've got the white and navy flags flying to the right. Those in the bottom 6 in the Premier League battling to make it into England's 6 in Europe's elite for next season. Expect the unexpected, Paul Robinson.
Oh, well, what a fantastic atmosphere. We was here only, 2 or 3 weeks ago for the Athletic Bilbao Manchester United game, and they put on a real show and a real atmosphere. Impressed by the stadium. This is an incredible location for what is going to be a fantastic game. 2 Premier League teams to fight it out on foreign soil. The atmosphere has been building for 2 or 3 days. It was slow tonight in the stadium. Fans came in dribs and drabs. Certainly not now. It's absolutely packed and electric in here.
Well, a reminder of the two teams. And for Tottenham Hotspur, they have made just the one change from the team that played against Bodo Glimt in the second leg, because they made wholesale changes for their last Premier League game. as they now pose for a team photo down below in all white with just that trim of navy. Vicario is in goal, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven and Udogie. That change is Sarr for the injured Kulusevski, Bentancur and Basuma, Richarlison, Solanke and Brennan Johnson. Now for Manchester United, they've tried to be competitive with their team selection. They've gone quite strong in the last couple of games. And so from the side that actually played against Chelsea last Friday, it is the one change where Yoro comes back from injury to replace Lindelof. Onana is in goal. Yoro, Maguire and Shaw, the back three. Matsraoui and Dorgu are the wing-backs, right and left respectively. Casemiro, Mount, Fernandes, Ahmad and Højlund. Red shirts, black shorts for Manchester United. I just wonder what is the best approach when you're going into a cup final. I notice Oliver Glasner kept it quite strong from a Crystal Palace point of view that reaped its rewards in the FA Cup final at the weekend. There has been a different approach from Ruben Amorim as well as Ange Postecoglou ahead of this final here in Bilbao.
I must admit, when I saw the team selection from both managers at the weekend, I did like what Ruben Amorim had done, going strong with his, a strong 11 going into this game. And we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? We said, what were they going to do? Are they going to go play a weakened team in the weekend before this game? And my answer was, well, they don't really have a strong one, do they? I think it's personnel and with the system that they want to play, getting used to that. But obviously Ruben Amorim went very strong, and I like that at the weekend. Ange Postecoglou didn't. But as we've said in the build-up, there is so many subplots surrounding this game.
Listen to this response from the Tottenham Hotspur supporters as Christian Romero walks over the Spurs players. They've been warming up away to the right, and then I think they've been told to switch ends, but Romero said no, we're going to form a team huddle just outside the penalty area in the Manchester United half, and as the Manchester United players break from their huddle, Tottenham are still linking arms over each other's shoulders. Interesting
tactic from Tottenham and the players. Christian Romero, they had the toss down below us here on this near touch line. Bruno Fernandes chose to turn round, so his goalkeeper Andre Onana, he's got his back to the Tottenham fans, but Christian Romero very cleverly there, didn't turn round immediately, grabbed all the Spurs player in a huddle on the edge of the 18-yard box where Manchester United are in that half, and they did their little team talk and huddle.
Our referee is Felix Speyer from Germany, who took charge of Paris Saint-Germain against Arsenal. Actually celebrated his 44th birthday earlier in the week as he is poised to get us underway. Great noise, as I'm sure you can appreciate on BBC Radio 5 Live. The first of 4 live European finals where we are inside the stadium. Lisbon, Wroclaw and Munich to come. But these are the sounds of Bilbao. Forget the rewards of the Champions League. Forget the debate of worst European winners. The game is about glory, and these two supporters do not care about all the stuff that's been going on around it. They want to win this trophy here tonight that is up for grabs. They are desperate, particularly the Tottenham supporters, for that long, long wait for silverware.
It's a really fine line, isn't it, between setting up a team to go and win the game tonight and setting up a team not to lose. Both sets of supporters after such a poor season. Tottenham even more so because they've been starved of silverware for so long. Desperately want to put an end to that 17 years without the trophy.
So Spurs are playing from left to right as we look, and Udogie goes back to Van de Ven. Van de Ven on the edge of his penalty area to Vicario, controls it inside his penalty area, and Romero now towards Porro, but closed down by Dorgu quite high up as the Manchester United fans are singing that song in tribute to Ruben Amorim. I've been thinking about it for ages, thinking, what tune is that? And it's Bonnie Tyler. It's a heartache.
You spent all afternoon researching that, have you? Is that what you've been doing? Telling me you're doing your notes?
You could argue that they're holding out for a hero. Early in the game then here in Bilbao. Basuma coming forward. Chips it. Johnson makes the run. Shaw has to race back with him. And Shaw plays it off the legs of Johnson, but in fact, the assistant referee on this near side has awarded Spurs a corner kick that Manchester United are furious about.
Yeah, it looked to be a goal kick initially. Luke Shaw wraps his left foot round it, kicks it off Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson seems to be the one that appeals the loudest. That should have been a goal kick, but the assistant down beneath us here on this side is giving Spurs the first corner of the game.
5 Live available on the BBC Sounds app, and we're also live on BBC Radio London and BBC Radio Manchester tonight. Porro waits to take the corner kick. Left arm aloft, right-footed, and the referee's blown his whistle. Harry Maguire knocked to the floor.
How did we know he was going to do that? That's an old trick of the referees. You watch so many football matches, and the referee knew that he got the decision wrong. VAR would have spoken to his ear. No sooner has Pedro Porro kicked that ball, it's left his foot, he's given a free kick for Manchester United in the penalty area, correcting a wrong decision.
Onana tells everybody to go downfield. They're not going to play out, they're going to go long here, all in green. Away towards our right, strikes it right-footed. Romero, though, climbs well in the air. Referee, though, has given a free kick in favour of Manchester United. And imagine that was for Romero coming over the top of Højlund.
He's absolutely clattered into Højlund there, Romero. Spots the ball from a long way off, he picks the flight really well. Comes over Casemiro and crashes into Højlund. Referee right in the spot, gives Manchester United a free kick immediately. As we've said, noticeable that both teams are going a lot longer and more direct.
The Stadium San Mamés in the heart of Bilbao is throbbing as Manchester United wait to take this free kick in a central position midway through the Tottenham Hotspur half. 0-0 in the early stages. Shaw, left-footed. Maguire tries to peel away, gets his header sliced by the Tottenham defence. And in fact, it's gone behind for a corner kick. Vicario couldn't keep the ball in play.
Really poor piece of defending there. I think it was Destiny Udogie. Free kick from Manchester United, deep from Luke Shaw. Finds Harry Maguire, and he just has a really wild swing at it. Udogie comes off the outside of his left shin. Vicario looks to try and keep it in, but to no avail. It goes out for the corner.
Manchester United's first corner kick, far side the right. Bruno Fernandes, the captain, who has really been their talisman this season, particularly in this competition. Waits far side the right. 0-0, right-footed, into the near post, comes out to the edge of the area. Porro breaks first from the Tottenham ranks. Shaw was there to tidy up. Mazraoui then goes back towards Bruno Fernandes, gets his head on it, and Vicario was a little slow coming off his goal line. Højlund beat him to it. Bruno Fernandes inside the area. Vicario back in position. Shot comes in, strikes the back of Mason Mount, and Tottenham survive. Their goal, in truth, despite the panic, wasn't threatened.
I'm not so sure Vicario judged that through ball very well. I think he had more time than he thought. Højlund was very quick over his shoulder. Got there before the Tottenham goalkeeper, kept it in play. Reversed it to Bruno Fernandes, who just couldn't weave his way through and get a clean shot off.
I mentioned that 5 Live will be live inside the stadium for the 4 European finals that are coming up over the forthcoming days. Next season, 5 Live will bring you more Premier League football than ever before. 209 matches will be live on the 5 Live network. And we've got the final day to look forward to on Sunday, where we'll be based at the City Ground to see who will finish in the top 5 for Champions League qualification. One of these two sides will also be in Europe's elite next season. The question is, who? As Ama picks it up in the centre circle, overruns it. Basuma was there. Pace is a very lively one, Paul.
It's been played at a million miles an hour. No team can really get a foothold in the game. Possession's been sparse, 1 or 2 passes and then the turnover of possession. Neither team have really settled. The crunching into challenges, pressing high on the field, and the changeover of possession has been very, very quick. 2 nervous teams, you can see, 2 nervous teams. Very noisy, very loud inside the stadium, and the players just haven't settled yet.
Which is what you predicted when we did the preview for the social media, for the 5 Live Sports social media feeds. You thought it might be like this.
Yeah, I thought they'd go at each other hard for 20 minutes. Really close each other down and press. And then as the game progresses, if nobody gets the opener, we might be in for a tense one.
Here is Richarlison. Forward, Casemiro wraps his leg into the challenge and wins the ball. Mazraoui now for Manchester United. Still 0-0. We're in the 7th minute here on BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sounds app. Should say that 3 of the last 4 finals have all finished 1-1 and have been settled via a penalty shootout.
And you wouldn't be surprised, would you, with these 2 teams, but for what's at stake for both of them, repeating ourselves about their poor domestic campaigns. But it can't be underestimated, the Champions League purse the place in the Champions League and the offer of European football. It's huge for both of these two clubs.
Hoyland runs forward. He's got Basuma going with it every step of the way. Goes out for a throw. Felix Fire, the referee, just says delay that throw, and I think tells Hoyland just to settle down as he was turning around to berate the German referee. Manchester United are attacking the end where they're near 15,000. That official allocation are housed behind the goal. But it's the Spurs supporters now in the end away towards our right who generate the noise here in Bilbao as Manchester United go back, and Yoro then receives the ball from Mazraoui on that far side, the right. Maguire, who was an unused substitute in the Europa League final 4 years ago, but Manchester United would not be here if it wasn't for his dramatic winner against Lyon, as they're forced back, and Yoro inside his penalty area to Onana. Solanke made the run towards him, passes it out towards Shaw, closed down quickly by Johnson. Manchester United now, as a result of that, Tottenham benefit, they get a throw.
Yeah, Ruben Amorim down beneath is on the touchline, the technical area. He's really not happy with Lenny Yoro and Andre Onana playing out from the back, putting the ball at risk. Goalkeeper gave Luke Shaw a really awful pass, couldn't really get the ball away, and they're giving away possession again.
Porro had a fine season, very consistent for Tottenham with the throw to Bentancur. Here is Basuma, passes the ball back. Every outfield player is in the half away towards our right. Romero goes out now towards Porro. Porro now hits the ball in. Oh, there was hesitation from Onana, and it needed the intervention from Mazraoui with a header behind for a corner because Richarlison was stealing in.
Brilliant defending from Mazraoui on the far post, saved a certain goal. It was a wonderful ball in from Pedro Porro. Goalkeeper Onana misjudges the flight completely, gets stuck underneath it. Mazraoui doesn't know where his surroundings are, he doesn't know where Richarlison is, but he gets there in front of the Tottenham defender and heads it away for a corner. Really excellent piece of defending.
Pedro Porro walks over to the far side, the left, to take the corner kick for Tottenham. 0-0. We've been playing for nearly 10 minutes. Felix Fire again has to have a word with Hoyland, this time getting too tight to Bentancur. I've got to say, in a very crowded 6-yard area. Porro waits, looks relaxed. Referee as watchful as ever. Porro hits it now with pace, punched away by Onana, edge of the area. Header from Johnson out towards Basuma, feeds it back out towards Porro on the left. Porro with a cross, repelled by the head of Mount, stood firm with his legs apart. Bentancur then now towards Udogie, and Udogie on this near side will run away from Ahmad, and Ahmad just barged into him, and the referee gives the free kick to Tottenham.
That's clearly a tactic that Tottenham have worked on with the set plays. There's a very, very full 6-yard box there in front of Onana. Referee delayed the corner coming in, had to speak to 2 or 3 players in that 6-yard box. Pedro Porro delivered the corner with whip, dip, pace and bend. Really difficult one for the goalkeeper to defend. Gets a fist on it and gets it away.
Udogie, far side to left, gets the ball back from Richarlison. He's just inside the Tottenham half now with Van de Ven. Across towards Romero, such a key partnership at the heart of that Tottenham Hotspur defence. Porro now from right back, hits the ball long. Solanke will run. Maguire has to come across, and Maguire lifts the ball forward. Interception from Johnson. Johnson now into the penalty area. Johnson with a cutback. Onana got something into it. Volleyed goalwards then by Papsar. Manchester United's defence stood firm. I think it needed a touch from Onana.
That's the first real clear opportunity of the game. Really good closing down by Brennan Johnson on this right-hand side. Harry Maguire tries to play a short ball to Luke Shaw. Johnson just nicks in and gets the wrong side of the Manchester United defender. And once he's in the 18-yard box, Harry Maguire can't touch him. Onana comes to his near post, spreads himself, makes himself really big. Ball comes back out to Papsar, who in turn hits the shot, but it hits it straight at Harry Maguire. Good press and good play from Tottenham.
Free kick then to Tottenham. Porro to take it. Few yards outside, left side of the penalty area. Manchester United have got everybody back inside their penalty area. Ahmad just stands as a solitary figure behind that spray from the German referee. Onana has a word of Dorgu, who's just the first of the Manchester United players in that long line of red on the edge of the 6-yard box. This is going to be an in-swinger from Porro. Onana waits. Bit of jostling going on. Again, the referee is keeping an eye on that. Porro fires it in, strikes Richarlison with his back to goal. Richarlison picks it up, shot blocked, spins behind for a corner kick. All the pressure from Tottenham.
Great opportunity for Tottenham for Richarlison. The ball just wouldn't sit for him. Casemiro was lazy in defending there, couldn't quite clear it. Hits his own player with a clearance inside the 6-yard box. Ball falls to Richarlison, it just won't sit in time for him. Gets a left foot shot off, but Bruno Fernandes is there to block it. It's all Tottenham at the moment.
It's an extremely congested 6-yard box for another corner kick to Tottenham. Another one on that far side, the left. Again, the referee has had to blow his whistle. And on this occasion, he's having a word with Pap Sarr, who's just standing in front of Andre Onana. He needs eyes in the back of his head at the moment. There's Felix Sveyer. Corner kick then for Spurs. Far side the left, Porro to take it, another in-swinger. Maguire gets his head to it, drops on the edge of the penalty area. Johnson too much underneath it, and he's adjudged to have caught Dorgu. And it'll be a free kick to Manchester United. 13 minutes played, still 0-0 on 5 Live.
He jumps in front of Dorgu. Johnson puts his arm across the Manchester United defender. He's caught him, he's catched him. I don't think there's any intent there, just catches him across the face. Referee gives the free kick immediately. But again, that corner kick from Tottenham, it's such a dangerous delivery into that 6-yard box, and Manchester United is struggling to defend them.
Tottenham Hotspur, who have won all 3 encounters against Manchester United this season. And their first meeting, you know, was the 28th of January 1899. But in 126 years, Spurs have never won 4 in a row against Manchester United. Manchester United have managed it on 6 occasions. There's a first time for everything. As Dorgu tries to get round the back of Porro. Referee says no. Free kick. Bentancur clears. What is interesting in all 3 meetings this season, Bergvall, Maddison and Kulusevski have featured in all 3. Indeed, they started in all their last meeting back in February, but they're all injured. But Spurs supporters of a certain generation will recall 1984, when they had selection issues. Steve Perryman suspended for the second leg of that UEFA Cup final against Anderlecht. Glenn Hoddle was missing, Ardiles only on the bench. So parallels with their last European success 41 years ago. Matsraoui, meanwhile, for Manchester United, floats it out towards Dorgu, near side the left, level with the penalty area. Didn't beat Porro, cross blocked, out for a throw to Manchester United. 15 minutes played, 0-0.
It's been played at such a fierce tempo. I mean, the atmosphere inside the stadium is excellent, isn't it? And that's filtering down onto the pitch, and the players may be getting a little bit caught up in what is a fiery atmosphere.
Dorgu did ever so well to get onto the end of Maguire's long ball. Looked like it was going away from him, but his stretching cross, and Romero's turned it behind for a corner to United. 0-0.
Manchester United's turn now. This time it's Harry Maguire, going a lot more direct over the right full-back area. Dorgu does extremely well, outstretched left leg, hooks it back across on the volley, going across the Tottenham 6-yard box. Romero cleans up at the near post.
Bruno Fernandes walks across, acknowledges the Manchester United support. Red shirts, black shorts, playing from right to left as we look. Corner kick on this near side, the left. This will be a right-footed corner. It'll be an in-swinger from the Manchester United captain. Vicario waits, in it goes now. Vicario comes, doesn't get there. Maguire tees it back. This is Ahmed. Ahmed looks for a shooting opportunity and fires it across the face of goal and out for a goal kick. 0-0.
Brilliant from Ahmed. Really, really good forward play. Gets it onto his right foot. He crashes a shot across the front of Vicario's goal. But it's Vicario again, he's flapping at the corner. It's a decent delivery by Bruno Fernandes, but his depth and height perception as he comes out, Vicario, it's something he's struggled with in recent weeks. Vicario played his best game for Tottenham away at Manchester City when he got injured. Since he's come back from his injury, he's not been the same. He's really struggled with through balls and crosses, and that was another example of it. Ball comes out to Ahmed and he gets a lovely angle on the shot, flies far past the far right-hand post, gets lucky the Tottenham goalkeeper.
He's hoping it's a case of third time lucky tonight. Ahmad, he was a runner-up with Manchester United when they lost on penalties to Villarreal, and then a year later in Spain, actually in the beautiful city of Seville, he was a runner-up with Rangers as they lost out to Eintracht Frankfurt. And here he is now, Ahmad picking the ball up, but he's stopped in his tracks and then battling away for the ball over on that far side. It will be a Tottenham Hotspur throw on the left.
Can't believe the pace that this game's been played at.
Frenetic,
I mean,
isn't
17 minutes in, and it really is played at a fierce pace. There's no team that you could say is having the better of the game. Tottenham have had a spell, Manchester United have had a spell, and neither one have had a really good sustained spell of possession.
Thunderous pace inside the San Mamés Stadium here in Bilbao. Solanke picks up the ball midway through the Manchester United half, leaves it towards Richarlison on the left. Richarlison's cross. Making the run from midfield was Pape Sarr. Shaw had trapped the run, put out a play for a Tottenham throw.
It's a great ball in by Richarlison, cuts back on his right foot, whips it to the near post, and Pape Sarr, he makes the right run, but he just doesn't do it without any conviction. I think if that was Solanke or Richarlison on the end of his own cross, there might have been a different outcome, but Pape Sarr just didn't look convincing at all.
18 minutes played. We're awaiting the opening goal here on 5 Live. Live on the BBC Sounds app as well. And with the new audio stream that's available through the BBC Sounds app as well, and that live radio dial, you've got the cricket as well, which is on Sports Extra, and then we've got a simulcast tonight on the National League playoff between Forest Green and Southend on Sports Extra 2. A new facility that will give you more choice of listening through BBC Radio 5 Live. But this is the Europa League final, and it is 0-0 as Solanke holds the ball up. Good scoring record of late against Manchester United in his career. Out for a Tottenham throw on that far side, the left. The Manchester United side, incidentally, who are the only unbeaten team in Europe. They have won 9 and drawn 5 of their 14 games in the Europa League. Richarlison nicks it into the path of Porro. Mount got the ball first. Porro, though, was caught and he's hobbling back to his feet as Onana, overarm style, throws it out towards Matsraoui. No let-up in the pace.
Pace is frenetic, it really is. Turnover possession.
Ahmad gets away from Udogi. Rolls away from the Tottenham left-back. Plays it back to Bruno Fernandes. Along the ground now towards Maguire. Every white shirt, though, back behind the ball. Here is Shaw. Dorgu on this near side, the left. Mason Mount had made that run out towards the left touchline, goes back towards Shaw. And once again, from a position of promise, they find themselves a little bit now on the back foot. Shaw hooks it over his head. Nice touch though by Mason Mount towards Dorgu. Tries to run away from Porro, who followed him, and he opens it up towards Yoro. Yoro now will quickly pass the ball towards Matsraoui on the Manchester United right-hand side. Ahmad now has it with that short pass, but comes to a standstill and then passes it back towards Yoro, who's recovered from that injury that forced him out of the Chelsea game on Friday. That's the only one change that they made from that defeat at Stamford Bridge. Ruben Amorim said he wanted to keep the preparation to be competitive. He thought that was the best way of approaching this Europa League final that you're listening to on 5 Live, Radio London and Radio Manchester 2.
Really has been an excellent start, pace-wise and tempo. Both managers on the touchline trying to get messages onto their relevant teams, but I'm not so sure that the players are going to hear anything inside this stadium. The atmosphere, like the game, is brilliant.
Can you imagine what it would have been like had Athletic Bilbao not been knocked out in the last 4 by Manchester United?
It was excellent here for the home leg, wasn't it, when they played Manchester United here?
Here is Dorgu, forward, left-hand side, looks for a cross, delivers it. Matsraoui rising. His header, though, couldn't get there first. Comes out towards Ahmad, slides it in. Bruno Fernandes, slow ball in, and gathered in safely by Vicario at his near post as Højlund was on the follow-up.
Again, Manchester United's best opportunities have come down their right-hand side. Ahmad's going to be the one that's causing problems. He gets in once again, in behind Udogi. Udogi pushes on, can't get back into position. In turn, he finds Bruno Fernandes. He tries to get it across the 6-yard box. Vicario, that time at his near post, dives out, takes the catch. From a goalkeeper's point of view, we talked about the different approaches just then from the two teams, as Vicario, who hasn't featured in the last 2 Premier League games, and Kinski actually, incidentally, is not even on the bench tonight for Tottenham. From a keeper's perspective, would you have preferred to have played? Absolutely. As a goalkeeper, I mean, there's only the early rounds of maybe a domestic cup and away at a non-league or a smaller league club that you might not fancy playing. But as a goalkeeper, it's about confidence, it's about playing every week, getting into a run, getting into a groove. If I was coming into this game, I'd certainly want to play the 2, 3, 4 games leading up to this for sure. That's Paul Robinson, the former England international, who was here 3 weeks ago when we watched Manchester United collect their only clean sheet in the last 10 games, incidentally, against Athletic Bilbao.
in that 3-0 success, and the red shirts here have been awarded a free kick midway through the Tottenham half.
They were good, weren't they? Manchester United, I think that's arguably the best performance that I've seen from them under Ruben Amorim, because they played an Athletic Bilbao side who are an excellent team, the best defence in the Liga, and it was on paper it looked like a really tough conquest for them.
And had to deal with a very lively atmosphere as well, as Shaw, that passionate support that if you've ever been to this proud region, the Basque region of Spain, you'll know what it's all about. A unique club, Athletic Bilbao, and the supporters are extremely partisan. Nothing materialised from the free kick. From a throw on the right, Ahmad stopped by Basuma. Richarlison still quite deep inside his own half, comes forward, dispossessed though by Mazraoui. Casemiro, who scored in both the semi-final legs against Athletic Bilbao. Manchester United in possession. Bruno Fernandes inside the centre circle. Solanke goes with him. Out to Mazraoui. Back towards Bruno Fernandes. Takes it on the run and shows too much to a doggy. Pops it up towards Richarlison and invites Mazraoui to head the ball for Manchester United. Spurs though have it back. And that is Solanke that has been felled, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham as the players surround the German referee, quick to get their point across to the match official.
It's such a tough call to say who's having the best of the game. When you look at the stats now, and in the last 5 minutes Manchester United 62% possession to Tottenham's 38, but earlier on in the game it was probably the flip side of that for Tottenham. It really is such a closely fought, tight game. There's no space on the pitch whatsoever, and both teams are battling, appealing, fighting for every single decision.
24 minutes played, 0-0. This is Van de Ven at the back for Tottenham. Goes infield to his defensive partner Romero, the Spurs captain. Son is on the bench tonight, and then Porro slides it in short, but Johnson was expecting a ball over the top. Breakdown in communication, out of play for a Manchester United throw.
It's got to slow down at some point, the tempo in this game. Somebody's got to try and take the game by the scruff of the neck, whether it's a Bentancur, a Papsar, a Basuma, a bit of quality on the ball, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro. Somebody just control the game and have some sustained possession.
Basuma stepping forward from midfield. Good run. Dorgu says he gets the ball. The referee agrees with him. Shaw chips it away. Dorgu can't keep the ball in play. It's a Tottenham throw. Midway through the Manchester United half on this near side to right. 25 minutes played, still 0-0.
It's the wide areas and the pace that Tottenham have got. Brennan Johnson on this near side. They're looking behind the two fullbacks that Manchester United have got, and Dorgu pushes on to try and exploit that pace.
Porro waits. He's level actually. He's just crept forward. He's now level with a penalty area on the right hand side. Gets it back. Shields the ball away from Mason Mount. Tries to wriggle through both Mount and Dorgu. Dorgu that wins that challenge, and it'll be a free kick to Manchester United. Ange Postecoglou, his 100th game tonight in charge of Tottenham. First Australian to lead a side into a major European final, and he is yet to take charge of Tottenham, where the game is finished goalless.
That's incredible, isn't it? In 99 games, he's never had a 0-0. Surely he's not going to start tonight, is he? I mean, he's under huge pressure, isn't he? We know, talked about his future before the game, but we saw him come out before the game and walk through the plethora of media that were below us, and he got a fantastic reception from all the Spurs supporters in unison.
It's on 5 Live last night, and Kelly Cates said, "What do you expect?" I said, "I can't call it." I said, "I don't know which way it's going to go." I said, "But there's one thing for guarantee, it won't be goalless." The last goalless draw for Spurs was against Milan in March 2023. There's been 111 games since. And you watch the curse of the commentator, it'll be 0-0 and we'll go to penalties later on tonight. We'll have to wait and see. In fact, I've got to say, there was a great statistic from Bill Edgar in the Times that Ange Postecoglou is looking to be the first manager to go without a goalless draw in 100 games since Bob Brocklebank for Bradford City in the early 1960s. Bill Edgar comes up with some absolute belters of statistics. If you're a little bit of a nerd like my good self, you like that, didn't you?
It's an incredible stat, it really is.
Great
and
name
it's
too.
one of those stats that you're probably not ever going to find out whether it's true or not, because it's that good.
Great name as well. That's Bob Brocklebank, not Bill Edgar.
Easy for you to say, eh?
27 minutes played, and it is 0-0. Bentancur, forward ball, Udogie on that far side, the left, with the cross. Onana. Well, you could see him shouting towards Dorgu. Dorgu wasn't that far away, but Dorgu didn't know that nobody was coming from behind him. He just bent his knees and chested the ball behind for a corner. 27 minutes played, 0-0.
There was nobody around him, was there? Chip ball to the far post. Goalkeeper knows it's going out. You can see Andre Onana on the replay screaming to Dorgu, you've got time, let it go. Whether he didn't want to take the chance, he couldn't hear him. Puts it on his chest and he puts it out harmlessly for another corner. Didn't need to do that, Dorgu.
So in front of the Tottenham Hotspur supporters, the two banks of predominantly white shirts that fill that allocation. At the end towards our right-hand side, Porro on this near side, the right, lifts his left arm. He was ready to take the corner kick, and the assistant referee has stepped in front of him. Once again, the referee is just having a word as a bit of jostling in that crowded penalty area. Porro patiently waits, now delivers it, right-footed. Comes towards Richarlison. Hooked away by Dorgu, headed back by Basuma. Maguire heads it away. Gets good distance on it, like head tennis at the minute. Casemiro's header gets a good length. And then Bentancur running back all the way towards Vicario, right-footed. Plants it downfield, first time all in yellow. Solanke tried to chest it back towards Romero, who'd stayed in the attack. Udogie off the chest, quickly closed down by Ahmad. Free kick to Manchester United. It is relentless.
And it's another example there of Tottenham's goalkeeper not taking any chances. Normally there, we've seen him so often earlier on in the season. Long ball back from Bentancur, normally would take a touch, look to play out. He was getting closed down by two Manchester United players. Took no chances, foot straight through the ball, back into the Manchester United half.
But for all the hurly-burly nature and the fast and furious frenetic pace of the game, there's been very, very few chances. Ahmad flashing one across the face of goal as Manchester United with the free kick. Ball stroked downfield by Brennan Fernandes towards Ahmad, who bursts into the penalty area. Ahmad now fires it in, and then eventually it's Papsar who puts it out of play for a throw.
He's got the beating of Udogie. Ahmad, he's been the liveliest player on the pitch for Manchester United. Once again, he fronts Udogie up, and once he gets in the penalty area, he knows that the Tottenham defender can't touch him. Papsar tries to double up. There's two of them there. Goes one way, goes the other way. It turns in Udogie inside out, doesn't know where he is. Gets a decent ball across, goes out for another corner. But he's been sharp, Ahmad. He's been lively. He's been the best player for Manchester United.
Just a delay to that throw-in on that far side, because Romero is down actually inside the 6-yard area at the moment. So a lot of white shirts are surrounding the captain. He's flat out on his back is Christian Romero. It was Ahmad who was coming forward. I'm not too sure whether there was a bit of a flailing arm by Højlund that might have just caught the Spurs skipper just on the side of the face.
That's exactly what it was, isn't it? Both of them fixed on the ball. Højlund trying to get a steal, trying to get in front of Christian Romero, but in doing that, catches the Tottenham skipper with an elbow to the side of the face.
And still, but in fact only now, as he just slowly but surely got to his feet. So the game should be able to resume. Half an hour played. 5 Live, BBC Sounds App, Radio London and Radio Manchester from the BBC, and it is still 0-0. Manchester United from that throw-in on the right-hand side go back to the halfway line. Shaw in the centre circle goes long, flicked on by Matsraoui. Ahmad controls it, strokes it back, early ball in by Fernandes, blocked by Sarr, and off his legs it runs out for a Manchester United throw 10 yards up from the corner flag.
It's definitely an area that they're targeting Manchester United, even then when they go longer. But it's Ahmad, that time it's Mazraoui, pulls away to the left-hand side, onto Udogie. Manchester United get another throw-in in the opposition's final third.
Manchester United again with that throw. Ahmad, Richarlison in front of him, away from the Brazilian. His cross though was wayward, it was deep and out of play. It goes for a goal kick that Vicario will take. Paul Robinson.
I think they'll be glad of the rest, the players. I think Vicario's taken his time, ushering the Tottenham players up the field. His two centre-backs are in the 18-yard box, doesn't look like he's going to give it to them. But the game's been played at such an incredible pace. You can't really say who's having the better of the game. There's been no real opportunities. Neither goalkeepers had to make a save to prevent a sure goal. Both sides are pressing high, pressing frenetically, and it's been played at a real pace. Tottenham players now all going up to the Manchester United half, and once again, no chances taken. The goal kick's going to be going long.
They weren't afraid to go long, were they, when you were in the Arctic Circle? for that second leg against Bodo Glimt, and from that they go downfield and Richarlison is able to turn. Just showed too much to Casemiro, who's got an excellent European record. Casemiro, of his 8 European finals, he's been a runner-up just once, and that was indeed just a Super Cup against Atletico in 2018, as Bissouma was caught on that far side and has stayed down. Play continues meanwhile, 13 minutes to go to half-time. Bissouma is still not on his feet. It was a heavy challenge as Maguire hits it long. Dorgu can't keep the ball in play, and it goes out for a Tottenham throw, but still Bissouma is down.
Yeah, he got caught. Free kick wasn't given. He made a lot of noise over on that far side. It was Mazraoui, and to be fair to Mazraoui, the Manchester United defender, he does just stand his ground. Bissouma runs into him. There's a collision of knees. Looks a painful one, just above his knee on the thigh. It'll be a dead leg. Will be a painful one. And Postecoglou waving over to his player. Get up, I think he said, if you can lip read on the television. It's a painful one for Bissouma.
Well, I'll be hoping that it is an injury that he can shake off, given the fact that there's no Bergvall, Maddison or Kulusevski. Although they have travelled, came out a day earlier than Manchester United, just to settle in this northern city in Spain. It is the 7th largest stadium. It's a very impressive one as well, as we're 10 miles south of the Bay of Biscay. It was a gorgeous day yesterday, clouded over a fraction this afternoon. The atmosphere, it would seem, has been quite a decent one, hasn't it? Figures ranging from either 60 to 80,000 English football fans in the beautiful city of Bilbao.
Listen, what we've seen this afternoon in the city, the atmosphere building, both sets of supporters, it's been a brilliant atmosphere, but they've also been joined by Athletic Bilbao supporters as well. Such a great bunch of passionate supporters. They've welcomed the two English teams.
Udogie coming forward. He was having his shirt pulled there by Ahmad, but he still goes on, and Udogie makes a run now towards the left corner of the area, and then the referee gives a free kick to Tottenham. I wonder if he's going to produce a yellow card. We're yet to have a yellow card so far, but Ahmad was definitely pulling the shirt of Udogie.
Yeah, Udogie got the wrong side of Ahmad. He was away from him. He was pulling his shirt, pulling him back. He chose to let him go, passed him on to Bruno Fernandes, who in turn, he took him down, giving away the free kick. The players are surrounding the referee. I think the Tottenham players want a yellow card for Bruno Fernandes. Ahmad's getting booked for the initial shirt pull, which the referee didn't actually blow for the free kick. It was the challenge by Bruno Fernandes that he blew up for.
Ahmad then is quite rightly booked 10 minutes before half-time. It was persistent holding, which the referee, to his credit, tried to let the game flow. It's a free kick then to Tottenham, playing from left to right, probably about 6 yards in from the left touchline, and about 22, 23 yards out from goal. Manchester United once again have Ahmad just as a one-man wall. Højlund also stands as a solitary figure, and then you've got a line of red shirts trying to deal with Van de Ven, Richarlison, Brennan Johnson, Romero and Solanke. Felix Valle, the referee, having a word with two Tottenham players, Richarlison and Van de Ven. There is a good gap though, good 10 yards between the line of Manchester United players and Onana, who's just off his goal line. Porro hits it in low, stopped by Højlund. Ahmad can't get there, and then clattered away by Bruno Fernandes. And it will go all the way through to Vicario, all in yellow, outside of his penalty area.
That was Pedro Porro's first real poor delivery. Tottenham had everybody set up. It looked like a really well-worked set play, but the delivery wasn't right.
Brennan Johnson now, he delivers a cross. Solanke, handball. Bounced up, clear handball, free kick to Manchester United.
It's getting scrappy, isn't it? I think the game's getting a little bit stop-start. Referee's having to give a lot of free kicks. Bruno Fernandes currently surrounding the referee. Whenever there's an incident now, the referee's getting surrounded by both sets of players appealing. Udogie on the far side, Bissouma was just caught. This time Bruno Fernandes is in the referee's ear. Onana taking his time, and once again, the United players making their way down the pitch, and Onana's going to go long.
About 8 minutes to go to half-time of normal time here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Onana hits it, right-footed. Højlund had three white shirts to contend with, dropped towards Johnson. downfield. Maguire's header to Richarlison gives Solanke something to chase. Yoro didn't go back, caught in possession by Sarr. He had Solanke behind him and he turned, and Sarr was the one breaking from midfield, but it's picked up there by Onana. Still goalless.
Took a chance there, Lenny Yoro, falling behind. He's getting closed down by Solanke. He was half waiting for his goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper was never coming. He was 10-15 yards away. Lenny Yoro took a chance, turned into trouble, turned into Pap Sarr. He got away with one there, Lenny Yoro.
Onana goes long. Again, Romero beats Højlund in the air. Comes towards Maguire, heads it forward. Bruno Fernandes has gone down holding his head. The referee will have to stop play. Bruno Fernandes, I think he's all right. He got up, had a word with the referee, and then went back on his back to start rolling around again. Yeah,
he's been in the referee's ear for about 5-6 minutes now, Bruno Fernandes. He generally seems to have one of those phases in the game when he starts moaning at the referee. He's not happy. There's a coming together there, both jumping for the ball, both of them eyes fixed on the ball. Pap Sarr gets there first. There's a slight clash of heads. Bruno Fernandes goes down, immediately rolls around, and then when he gets the free kick, he gets up and he still moans at the referee.
And from that free kick, Maguire hits it right-footed out towards Dorgu. Controls it in between his legs off that left boot, rolls it back towards Shaw. Has the experience, of course, of playing in a European Championship final with England, indeed scoring in 1-2. Is Ahmad able to turn? Mazraoui on the overlap. Mazraoui's cross blocked by Udogie, and the loose ball stayed in play. Picked up by Richarlison, who runs forward, and Richarlison now has Bissouma going ahead of him on that left-hand side. Bissouma runs into Mazraoui, picked up now by Fernandes to Højlund. Højlund uses his strength to hold off Van de Ven, and then the referee gives the United free kick. You don't have much time on the ball in this game.
No time whatsoever. It was a free kick that time. Højlund did really well. Number 9 play, if you like, back to the goal on the halfway line. Van de Ven was taking no prisoners there. Højlund took the ball. Referee brought it back. It was a foul. Manchester United get another set play where again they're just inside the half. They look like they're going to go forward with it.
And they go to Ahmad, and Ahmad now runs forward. Ahmad cuts to the edge of the penalty area, gets his left-footed shot away, and it was a lot of the pace was actually taken off it, and he stayed down, Ahmad. Play continues meanwhile for Spurs. It's not a head injury, but I think Udogie does the right thing and puts it out of play for a throw, because Ahmad is in a lot of pain.
Yeah, he's holding the back of his neck, Ahmad. Laid down about 10 yards outside the Tottenham Hotspur penalty box. Tottenham players questioning what he's done. He's cut inside, he's hit a really good shot, and it's a collision with Richarlison. He just falls awkwardly. It's one of those where you fall awkwardly, his shoulder and your neck, and you just crick your neck. Looks like he's going to be okay. He's got up now, to the frustration of the Tottenham fans.
That low shot, though, which was comfortably saved by Vicario, has actually gone down as the first shot on target 5 minutes before the game. You know how these two sides...
shot. That wouldn't have even gone over the line.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It has been credited as the first shot on target. But you know how these two sides have got contrasting fortunes?
Yeah.
And they play well on a Thursday night. And I think you made a joke on 5 Live, I've heard you say it. This is a Wednesday night.
It's Wednesday.
This feels like a Premier League game.
Reverted to type. I mean, it's a Premier League game on foreign soil, isn't it? Both of these have had excellent European campaigns. Manchester United, obviously, still unbeaten.
Play underway. Bruno Fernandes, and Ahmad is all right as well and running freely. Mazraoui stabs it towards Bruno Fernandes. Caught though in possession by Pap Sarr. For Tottenham Hotspur in predominantly all white, playing from left to right as we look here in Bilbao. 4 minutes to go to half-time, still goalless. Richarlison waits and now receives the ball on that left touchline. Bentancur makes the run into the inside left channel. Plays it back out towards Sarr. Low cross comes in, Johnson is there! He's smuggled the ball over the goal line! Brennan Johnson for Tottenham Hotspur! The breakthrough goal! 4 minutes before half-time! Delirious celebrations in the Tottenham Hotspur end! There was nothing that Onana could do, and Johnson counts, and Tottenham Hotspur lead. Manchester United by a goal to nil.
And it was a scrappy goal. It was a wonderful ball in from the left-hand side, right-footed in-swinger. The Manchester United defence, they couldn't deal with it. The goalkeeper stayed on his line. Brennan Johnson got there. He got there in front of his defender. Didn't really make a clean connection with it. Andre Onana dived to his right, fumbled with his left hand, fumbled with his right, and couldn't keep it out the goal. It was the first good bit of play from Tottenham on that left-hand side. Lovely whipped-in ball, in behind the back four, in between them and the goalkeeper. Papsar it is with a delivery. Bounces just in front of Brendan Johnson. Bounces up, hits him on the underside of his thighs. Then he gets another connection with it, pokes it past Onana, who's already on the floor. And watching the replay, that comes off Luke Shaw's hand. That's going to be an own goal. Brendan Johnson gets there at the near post. It comes off the underside of his leg, comes back, hits Luke Shaw's arm, and it's Luke Shaw who diverts it.
Or does Brennan Johnson get a second touch?
Has he had another touch in front of Onana?
I think he might have had a second touch, you're right. As it strikes Shaw, as he's falling to the floor, he just has a little swish, and he might have got another telling connection.
Whatever it was a mess, it was scrappy, and it wasn't pretty from Manchester United's point of view, but it was a brilliant ball by Papsar, and Brendan Johnson's made the most of a scrappy situation at the near post.
And still, that record goes on. I told you that Ange doesn't do goalless draws.
And he also doesn't do many clean sheets. We might have a few more goals yet.
Yeah, 13 clean sheets in all competitions this season for Tottenham. But they have had the better of the meetings against Manchester United. They've won all three this season, and for the fourth consecutive time they have scored the opening goal against United, who've got a chance to immediately respond. Bruno Fernandes with a free kick. Richarlison volleys the ball away. It goes out for a throw on the far side. All the noise is coming to the end away towards our right. The end to our left, that is predominantly red, is silent.
Well, you can see what it means to those Tottenham fans. Immediately when that ball hit the back of the net, they came down the stand in their droves. People falling over seats, falling down the aisles. And over in that far corner, Brendan Johnson, Papsar celebrating. The scenes over to our right, absolutely fantastic for those in white shirts.
It's his 18th goal of the season. He scored after 38 seconds against Bodo in the first leg. As here is Bruno Fernandes, his volley in the penalty area blocked. We've had to wait a little longer for the opening goal here in Bilbao tonight. It arrived 3 minutes before half-time. Tottenham lead. Manchester United's cross by Bruno Fernandes, volleyed away by Basuma. Comes out towards Maguire. We're inside the last 60 seconds. And if you thought from a Tottenham point of view it's been an agonising wait since 2008, the next 45 minutes will be purgatory as they lead. But to dare is to do. That is the club motto. And he gambled, he did dare. And it reaped his rewards for Brennan Johnson. And they are bouncing in the stands, are the Spurs supporters. Great noise here in Bilbao. I think there's been if you're not a supporter of these two, there's been an ambivalence.
I don't think there's such a thing.
Fascination.
There isn't a thing as a neutral inside this stadium.
No.
You said about the allocation, the ticket allocation, all you can see is red and black or white and blue. There's no real neutrals inside this stadium. The noise is phenomenal. The game did need a goal. It was a scrappy goal. It wasn't pretty, but the Tottenham supporters won't mind. Just watching it again. Papsar's ball into the near post was excellent. Scrappy from Manchester United's point of view. Off Luke Shaw's arm, into the path of Brennan Johnson. Looking at it again, taps it into the corner. Onana can't do a thing, clutching at thin air.
A strong smell of sulphur too, from maybe some of the pyrotechnics that had been let off in the Tottenham end. They were crazy scenes of celebration. We're into 2 minutes of added on time, and all the noise is still emanating from the Tottenham Hotspur supporters. Manchester United awarded a free kick. Bruno Fernandes goes long, diagonal ball. Maguire is the target. Headed away, loose ball picked up by Amad Diallo. Shaw, he chips the ball in. Headed out by Romero. Nobody had gone with him. Now it's Amad. His cross. Vicario's come a long way and collects it. 1-0 to Spurs.
Simple catch for the Spurs goalkeeper. Takes the pressure off his defence. Takes the pressure off the back four. Manchester United looking to the far post again. Delivery from Fernandes. They look to Harry Maguire. Comes back out. Luke Shaw again looks for Maguire at the far post. That time the Tottenham goalkeeper collects the ball. and he's certainly in no hurry. They want that half-time whistle,
which is seconds away. Vicario with a long clearance, flicked on by the head of Solanke, picked up by Richarlison. Richarlison rolls, does well to get away from Mazraoui, delivers the cross, it's a deep one. Dorgu being closed down very quickly by two Spurs players, but lets it go out of play for a throw. And there indeed is the half-time whistle. A half-time which hasn't had many goal-mouth opportunities, but we have had a goal. And if you can envisage a scene of white Tottenham flags flying and still jumping Tottenham supporters celebrating, then that goal from Brennan Johnson 3 minutes before the break is the difference. Your thoughts, Paul Robinson?
Well, you look at the two sets of supporters, the contrast between the two. You'd think that the final whistle had gone, looking at those Tottenham supporters. The Manchester United fans away to our left, gone off for the half-time refreshments already. There seems to be a party on the right-hand side. Still a long way to go in this game. I can't see how on earth this game can stay played at the pace that it has done for the first 45 minutes. It's got to settle down at some point. One of the sides, it needed a goal. The game needed a goal for it to kind of level out, if you like. Manchester United arguably had the better play in the final third, but Spurs with Johnson, Richarlison, they've taken their opportunities in the wide area, and they've got the pace, and they've got that all-important lead.
And the Spurs substitutes have waited for every outfield player for Tottenham to leave the playing field, and I noticed that Son, with his green bib, gave the goal scorer a warm embrace. It was a hearty hug that Brennan Johnson has just received from Son, who is amongst one of the substitutes. But half-time here in Bilbao, Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 0.
I mean, it's a scrappy game with a scrappy goal, but Tottenham fans aren't going to care, are they, Paul?
No, it's not pretty, is it? It's been very stop-start. And like I said to you before the game, you're watching two teams who are playing at such a frantic pace. It's almost nervous energy that the two teams are running around with, trying to close down, trying to win the ball back. And as you say, it's not been a pretty game. It really hasn't. Scrappy, stop-start. Obviously, Tottenham got the goal.
I don't think there's been a clear-cut chance, really, has there, Michael?
Really, we've been looking. We're listening to Ian in commentary there, talking about shots on target, extra. That's the point for me, isn't it? We've been waiting for this fascinating game where we're expecting goals because of Ange Postecoglou and chances, and really it has been a nervy sort of first half. Not a really great watch, but I can understand why it's become like that. It's fast, it's you go, we go. It's not really having much control or much opportunities, but again, when you look at it and Spurs put that quality ball in and you take the goal, however it goes in that near post, it's something to build on. Manchester United have to find more control, more reaction. They've got to create more, but you do expect obviously Spurs to continue in the way. So are we going to say it? There's got to be more goals, Mark.
But Tottenham don't have to do anything, do they, really? I mean, unless Ahmad gets the ball, Michael, everything the United do is in front of Tottenham. So if they keep their shape and try and hit on the break, they'll be fine. I
think that was important as well. When Ahmed got the ball, he was on that great run down the right-hand side. The recovery runs from Spurs players were really good. Everybody getting back into his shape. So that maybe is something that they have improved on, have got slightly better. But again, they've got to find solutions. Manchester United, again, have got some really quality attacking players. Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, we know what they can create when they get a little bit of space, but as expected, when the game's a little bit rushed, they're not having the control into final third, into better positions where those quality passes can come through.
Is this all down to nerves then, Paul?
I think so. I think that's what it is. I mean, it's a huge occasion, isn't it? And big games, you look for big players, and nobody's really taking this game by the scruff of the neck, control the pace of it. Normally from a Manchester United point of view, you look at Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, just put your foot on the ball, keep possession for a while, talk to the players around you and say, look, let's just try and get a little bit of sustained possession. But neither side have been able to do that.
Paul Robinson, Ian Dennis, Michael Brown for the time being. Thank you. National League Promotion Playoff semi-final tonight as well is on Sports Extra 2. If you want to listen to that, currently Forest Green Rovers 0, Southend 0. During half-time of the Europa League final, we'll hear more from Ben Stokes ahead of England against Zimbabwe at Trent Bridge tomorrow. First of all, 8 minutes to 9, here's Bethan Holmes.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Minister Keir Starmer says he wants more pensioners to be eligible for winter fuel payments, despite stopping 9 million people from claiming it last year. The Conservatives have called the move inevitable. Paul Farmer is the Chief Exec of Age UK.
People were really struggling to make some really difficult choices between heating and eating in some cases. And there were some parts of the country where there were some workarounds, but on the whole, it was a real mess. And so we've been saying to government for some time that this cannot happen again this winter because of the very real risk to many older people's lives.
There's been another tense exchange in the Oval Office, this time between Donald Trump and the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa. The US president again suggested white South Africans are fleeing the country and are facing a genocide, a claim that's been widely discredited. Our North America correspondent is Nomia Iqbal.
It was extraordinary in the sense that you had two professional golfers from South Africa in that room, who President Ramaphosa had brought. Donald Trump seemed to be more interested in listening to them than he was in listening to President Ramaphosa. And we've seen this before with President Zelensky, the ambush that happened there. It was pretty jarring to see a foreign leader trying to give facts about his own country to a president who prefers to push conspiracy theories.
Elsewhere, a member of the group Knicap has been charged with a terror offence. 27-year-old Liam Ohana has been charged after allegedly displaying a flag in support of Hezbollah at a gig in London last year. Tommy Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, has been charged with harassment causing fear of violence against two men in August of last year. He will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court next month. And the rate of inflation rose by 3.5% in the year to April, a much bigger increase than expected. It was mostly driven by an increase to household bills.
On BBC iPlayer.
Man like Moby. I've been looking for you.
He's got problems.
You kidnapped my little sister.
He's got plans.
Moby's stolen cash from the Turks and he's ordered you a fake passport.
And he's going places.
Welcome to Istanbul.
Bad news. Very bad news.
Man Like Moby, the final series.
Get out my personal space, you evil twit.
Watch now on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sport
with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Spurs 1, Manchester United 0 at half-time in the Europa League final. On Sports Extra right now, ball-by-ball commentary of England's women's first T20 international against the West Indies. Dan Norcross.
Well, they're cruising. They're 80 for 2 in response to West Indies' 146 for 6. Earlier, Hayley Matthews scored a remarkable 100 not out. The West Indies captain getting that in 67 balls with 16 fours and 1 6. No one else in the West Indies lineup got more than Mandy Mangrew's 17. England's reply, Danny White-Hodge made 17. Nat Sciver-Brunt in her first innings as full-time captain was out for a 2-ball duck caught behind by Mangrew off Fletcher, but Sophia Dunkley with a slightly remodelled technique is going very well. She's unbeaten on 46 from 33 balls. Heather Knight 12 from 10. England 80 for 2. They need 67 runs of 10 overs.
England's men, meanwhile, begin their international summer tomorrow with a one-off 4-day test against Zimbabwe at Trent Bridge. First time they've played each other in a test since 2023. Jonathan Agnew has been talking to Ben Stokes ahead of a busy year.
Obviously, you have got to think about what we've got coming up, and it's impossible to not. But, you know, one thing that I've got to do and think we've got to do as a team, and we've spoke about this, as focusing what we need to do in the day and not thinking too far ahead, if that makes sense. We obviously know what we've got coming up. We've got this test match against Zimbabwe, we've got India, then we've got Australia. But what we want to do as a team is probably more important than what we've got coming up. We want to win everything that we've got coming up in the next 2, 3, 4 years, but making sure we're focusing on the task at hand without looking too far ahead with the big things we've got coming up is something that, you know, we're really focusing on the team and making sure we stay strong to that.
Yeah, I mean, the India series is clearly obviously extremely important, isn't it? And will how that goes depend the sort of the mood of you setting off to Australia, if you like?
Well, again, that's way too far ahead. We'll deal with this challenge of Zimbabwe, and then we'll deal with the challenges of the India series when that comes.
Yeah. I was interested in what Brendan McCullum said yesterday about public statements and reconnecting with the public. What do you think he meant by that?
Yeah, look, I think we've been pretty open and honest with each other. You know, we've gone about things in a certain way with the language that me and Baz have used over the last 2.5 years. And, you know, sometimes obviously it can be taken out of context from what we say up in the dressing room for the meanings that we mean by it to then get delivered in, you know, situations like this. And now we've sort of pulled that up and we've explained sort of the bigger picture of sometimes the things that we say. It's just lads being a bit more mindful about how they go in and speak about certain situations, or the way in which they respond to certain questions. So everyone's pretty much understood that. And we've always been a team who want to be celebrated by, you know, the supporters and the public, but can totally understand in the past where maybe a few comments have been taken out of context, which can come across in the wrong way, even though it's not meant that whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, they were said, but that's not a reflection of what you were saying to each other in the dressing room. It sounds as if what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a lot more meaning to some of the sort of the smaller things that we try and, you know, say at the end of series, at the end of days, or how we deliver messages. You know, a lot to do with it is what we thought that team needed to hear, what we thought that the dressing room needed to hear, and individuals needed to hear, to go out there in the pressures of international cricket without adding pressure to what that already gives to players when they walk out there.
And the last one, Ben, the mindset. How are you going to play? How are you going to approach these? And I'm going 10 tests here, or 11 tests, in fact. I'm looking at the bigger picture. Are you going to play in the same way? Is it going to be the same, or is it going to be a slightly toned down, or can I use the word common sense sometimes, approach to the way it's played? It's not, well, I mean, you mentioned the last test match being in Islamabad. I mean, the whole thing fell in a heap there, didn't it? Sri Lanka at the Oval. Are you going to try and avoid that style of play while still being positive?
Yeah, the word, you know, the word ruthless, I've said I'm not a big fan of it. The word that I do love about what I've tried to install in this team going forward is dominance, and dominate. And whatever situation that we find ourselves in a game, that's the word that I want to be at the front of our head about how we want to take the game on, or how we need to play. There's obviously times where in the past when we're so good at putting teams and oppositions under pressure, when everything's in our favour, when everything's going well. One thing that we have, you know, been pretty open and honest about each other is being smarter in the moment when potentially the opposition is going through a phase of play, or where they are on top. How are we going to be able to wrestle that momentum back towards us to then allow us to use our super strength as a team, which is to pile the pressure back on. You know, we've said we've been guilty in the past as a team where we've maybe been a little bit too stubborn and a bit too stuck in our ways, which has actually probably taken us further away from the result that we want. Whereas now we are incredibly clear on how we want to go out there and play first and foremost, but now we've got this understanding as a collective that it's not always going to be in our favour. There is going to be some times where we do need to reassess and understand maybe we need to wrestle momentum back towards us. And these guys are all incredibly gifted cricketers. They've all got incredibly gifted cricket brains. We all know those moments when we need to do that. So for us, it's about understanding that and really taking that and making that a precious, you know, part of our play. Because everyone knows that when things are going well for us as a team, we're an incredibly hard team to stop. But we know it doesn't always go that way. So yeah, you know, that word dominant again, that's where it comes in.
And it sounds, while you're doing your weights and all rehabs, you've been doing quite a bit of thinking and reflecting, have you?
Well, look, there's always going to be, you know, being in this job, this is my, what is it, fourth, third?
Feels like it.
Yeah. Does, doesn't it? You know, for someone like myself to not want constantly lads to give themselves the best chance of improving, give themselves the best chance of being the best player they possibly can be, that's what I always ask myself, is what do I need to do? And there's also that team side of it where I don't ever want to look back on my time as England captain and think I could have done more to get this team where I think we can get to. You know, and there's no doubt in my mind that we can be the best test team in the world. So from here onwards, it's about trying to do that. And the way that you do that is go out there and win games of test cricket.
Ball-by-ball commentary of England-Zimbabwe gets underway 10:25 tomorrow morning on Sports Extra. And BBC Sounds has been a goal in the National League Promotion Playoff semi-final. Ben Goodliff has got it for Southend, their centre-half, and they lead at Forest Green Rovers by 1-0. You can listen to that on Sports Extra 2. Michael Brown is with us, Ian Dennis and Paul Robinson inside the stadium in Bilbao. Opta have put this stat out, Michael. The 31st time the United have conceded the opening goal in a game this season, the most by any Premier League team across all competitions. And they do they don't look comfortable at the back, do they?
Well, they haven't for some times, obviously, with those type of stats. I think their sort of reaction is to go and attack. And I think if they just sit back and wait, at times they are conceding, they get overrun. I think we know about the legs in the team, and that's obviously, you look at Spurs where we talked about 3 midfielders, but Papisar is just getting a little bit further on, trying to run in behind, trying to stretch it. So yeah, they've got to find a bit more on the legs, but we need more from those attacking players. This is the problem now. He might just obviously have to sacrifice that midfield dominance to try and get more in attacking areas, but it will be dangerous if he does that.
Amorim will.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, at some point. Yeah, to get into the game, have more attacking threat, because that's what they haven't found. But if you leave Casemiro on his own, that is the danger.
Tottenham 45 minutes away from getting their hands on a trophy. Back to Paul Robinson and Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Mark. Welcome back to the San Mamés Stadium here in Bilbao in northern Spain, where Tottenham Hotspur are 45 minutes away from landing their first silverware since 2008 for what would go down as their best season in 41 years. Such are the fine lines in sport. If they were losing, we'd be talking about their worst season since relegation in 1977. But they are ahead by 1-0. That Brennan Johnson goal just before half-time. We are back underway and neither side has made an alteration, although Romero has taken a blow to the face, which will allow me to run through the two teams. Manchester United in the second half, attacking where the Tottenham supporters are housed, away towards our right, from left to right, with Onana in goal, Yoro, Maguire and Shaw, Matsraoui and Dorgu, Casemiro, Mount, Ahmad, Højlund and Bruno Fernandes. Red shirts and black shorts. Tottenham Hotspur in predominantly all white, with just that little bit of a navy trim. Beccario in goal, a back four of Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and Udogie, Sarr, Bentancur and Basuma, Richarlison, Solanke and the goal scorer Brennan Johnson, as Højlund chests the ball towards Mason Mount. Dorgu overruns it, but it has been a scruffy type of game, and in many ways the goal is symptomatic of their seasons.
Well, I think that the goal really was in keeping and fitting for a game. It's been a poor game, in all honesty, hasn't it? It's not been a great watch. It's been scrappy. Both teams pressurising each other. The turnover of possession has been so rapid. Nobody's been able to get a hold of the game, and the goal was that scrappy. It matched the rest of the game.
Spurs supporters generating the noise. Solanke picks up this ball and runs forward. He ran in towards Shaw. The referee, Felix Feier from Germany, says no free kick. The German match official in his ultra-blue referee shirt and black shorts has tried to let the game flow wherever has been possible, though despite that, not many chances have been created. The locals call this stadium the Cathedral. Given the way that these two sets of teams have played this season, they'll be looking for some sort of divine inspiration, I would imagine. Certainly Manchester United will, given the fact that they're going to have to come from behind now early in the second half. Live on BBC Radio 5 Live, also available on the BBC Sounds app, and we're also live on BBC Radio London and BBC Radio Manchester. As Matsraoui on this near side with a throw, goes back to Yoro. Yoro, the ball slowly rolls to the feet of Maguire as Solanke runs towards him. Maguire passes the ball to Ahmad, who lays it off towards Matsraoui midway through the Tottenham half. Shortening field towards Fernandes, collects the diagonal ball back. Nice play by Manchester United. Ahmad with a cross, Højlund with a header. It was slightly behind him, and as he slipped a little bit as well, couldn't get the power, couldn't generate it goalwards, dropped safely out for a goal kick. Good start by Manchester United. Quick again it's Ahmad on this right hand side, ducks into the box, whips it with his left foot. Unfortunately for Højlund this time, it's just behind him, he can't really get any connection on it. Goes out for a goal kick, but there's better start from Manchester United. They're going to look again to Ahmad, but Mason Mount's been extremely quiet, hasn't he? I think obviously it's the start in the game today, and you've got to think that it's in Ruben Amorim's mind just how long it is before he shuffles his pack, and Garnacho would be the obvious one. Yeah, Garnacho, who's on the bench. We thought that Joshua Zirkzee was out for the season. He travelled and is fit enough, but will only be limited in terms of possession, or in terms of match minutes rather, as Van der Ven has just been shown a yellow card.
just clumsy by Van de Ven. Again, it's a coming together with Højlund. Højlund's well within his rights. He gets in front of Van de Ven. Van de Ven, he's looking at the ball, but he just smashes Rasmus Højlund in the back of the head, back of the neck. Takes out the Manchester United forward. A really silly challenge from Van de Ven, and gets himself a yellow card. And again, it's a free kick for Manchester United in a dangerous position.
Second yellow card of the game. Van de Ven booked 4 minutes into the second half. Joins Ahmad in the notebook of the German match official. Bruno Fernandes to take this free kick. 10 yards in from the right touchline. Right-footed. Aimed towards Casemiro. Header away by Bentancur. Spurs player was knocked to the floor there. That was Romero. Maguire was standing over him, and then as Maguire was then running back, he was in an offside position, but the two continue to exchange words, the two central defenders. Nobody backing down over that, Maguire and Romero.
The two of them at the far post have both got their arms wrapped around each other. And when the ball does go out the Spurs box, neither wants to let go. It's a bit like, what was it, Strictly Come Dancing? That wasn't it, neither wanted to let go. Romero then fell to the floor. They got up, put their heads together. Credit to Rasmus Højlund, he just pushes the pair of them apart and says, go on, get on with it.
Vicario waits to take the free kick. Romero certainly made the most of that. Right-footed downfield. Spurs lead 1-0. Casemiro wins the aerial duel with Sarr. It's not back towards the two of them. Sarr's header goes up. Casemiro heads it away. Bentancur's header gently towards Brennan Johnson. Solanke a willing runner. Shaw has to concede a throw over on that far side. Tottenham Hotspur have the initiative.
Well, the game certainly continued. The pace of the first half, neither side letting up. Manchester United arguably starting the better, having the better of possession, but again both sides snapping into challenges all over the pitch, looking for fouls, looking for free kicks, moaning to the referee.
Ball goes back towards Onana, clears it inside his 6-yard area. Højlund heads it towards Ahmad, cut out though by Udogie. Van de Ven tidies up with a back pass towards Vicario, and then a little flick, controls it, passes the ball out towards Porro. Bentancur just nudges it into the path of Brennan Johnson, got there first before Dorgu. Porro, a little bit off balance, clears it long, scoops it high downfield. Maguire's header, but there was Papsar, and Papsar adjudged to have fouled Casemiro. Free kick to Manchester United, still scrapping.
There really is no rhythm for either side. The free kicks that they're giving away are clumsy. It's stopping any side getting any type of momentum. That time it was Papsar, went through the back of Casemiro in the middle of the pitch.
Maguire's header, Brennan Johnson lays it behind him for Bissouma, and then Bissouma steadying in the midfield to Porro. Porro does a 360-degree turn just inside the Manchester United half. They can't keep the ball in play, and it goes for a Manchester United throw as all of a sudden the temperature has dropped. There is a little bit of freshness inside the stadium with a bit of cool air wafting into our commentary position here in Bilbao. Mazraoui near side the right back with Yoro. Saturday's 5 Live Sport, Northampton Bordeaux in the Rugby Union Champions Cup final at 2:45, followed by Arsenal against Barcelona in the Women's Champions League final at 5 from Lisbon. As Manchester United come forward, Mason Mount, last touch came off him. It'll be a Tottenham throw, and every challenge is being cheered vociferously by those Tottenham supporters.
Yeah, Romero and Van de Ven, they've played well. They're a good partnership and the understanding's there between them, but they have been over-aggressive in challenges. I think that's set the tone for the rest of the Tottenham players as well. Those two are the two leaders at the back. When Romero plays well, generally the Tottenham team tend to play well.
This stadium has actually hosted a Champions League or a Champions Cup final, Leinster against Racing in 2018. In fact, it set an attendance record, and indeed last year it held the Women's Champions League final when Barcelona beat Lyon by 2-0. In a week's time we'll be in Wrocław as well as Lisbon at the weekend, and then Munich to come, all inside the stadium on BBC Radio 5 Live for those 4 European finals as we are here tonight. 8 minutes into the second half, and Tottenham Hotspur still a 1-0 up.
Yeah, Richarlison this time it is, trying to hold up possession. Mazraoui takes him down on the halfway line. Again the play breaks. Tottenham players amble forward, as you can hear the Manchester United fans in the background booing. Nobody in a white shirt wants to take this free kick. We've still got a long way in this game to go, and from Tottenham's point of view, you can't imagine they're going to try and manage the time down from 54 minutes.
Van de Ven chips it long. Little flick there with the head of Richarlison, offside from Sarr. who is close to delaying the restart, but eventually just walked away just in time. Onana is actually the one who's going to race across to take it. I don't think there was a willing taker actually from a Manchester United point of view, but Onana goes across towards Maguire. They go further square towards Shaw, and now Dorgu, the left wing back. And out of play. No, it'll be a free kick to Manchester United. 9 minutes into the second half.
Mason Mount and Bentancur. Bentancur just pulls back Mason Mount.
Dorgu on the stretch. Mason Mount keeps it in play. Højlund over the halfway line. Leaves it, forward ball from Casemiro. Cut out though, out for a throw. Tottenham, as you will reference, you know, they went almost back to basics. They did go quite direct against Bodo Glimt. Here they're just clearing their lines at the first opportunity in this second period.
We saw them do it in Eintracht Frankfurt, we saw them do it in Bodo, and they didn't apologise for going longer. Like I said, neither of those performances were pretty, but there was a job done. And as we speak, to highlight that point, Pedro Porro puts his foot through it, and it's like kicking for touch far into the Manchester United half. It's a difficult one for Tottenham because they're not a team that are full of confidence. To try and see a game out, a cup final out from this distance in to the final whistle, is going to be a very, very tough job. Manchester United, they'll be looking to stay in this game. The longer this goes and it's still 1-0, they'll always feel there's a chance. The pressure will go, they'll start to take more chances going forward.
I would think within the next 5 minutes it's a matter of time before we see Garnacho. Ruben Amorim with his white pumps, very casual looking, the 40-year-old Portuguese coach, looking for his side to level this Europa League final here in Bilbao, against the backdrop of a deafening noise being generated by the Tottenham Hotspur supporters, as Richarlison gets away from Ahmed, who's slow to get to his feet, and Richarlison is quick to go to ground, and Bruno Fernandes is desperate to get the ball off Richarlison and actually prevents the restart of that free kick with a little flick as he was still on the ground.
That's good refereeing. I mean, that was one of the situations there where Richarlison went over far too easily, and he tried to pull the ball back into his body with his hand. He tried to referee the game. It wasn't a foul, he dived, he went over far too easily. Referee said no, get on with it, and he gave the free kick to Manchester United for a Richarlison handball.
11 minutes into the second half here on BBC Radio 5 Live, and Bissouma is slowly taking his time for the throw. Felix Fire, I think, he's given him the hurry up. Not a great deal of movement to Richarlison. Holds off, Mazraoui behind him, just over the halfway line. Goes out for a Manchester United throw that Mazraoui will take quickly. And then Bissouma catching and fouling Bruno Fernandes. Free kick, stands in front of Casemiro. He's told to retreat. He was very close to getting a yellow card there. The referee trying to show his authority.
It's ugly, isn't it? It's an ugly game. It's a really poor watch at the moment. Spurs making it that way, though.
That was a cynical foul by Richarlison. Just hacked down Mazraoui and gets a yellow card, and you've got to say deservedly so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Crude challenge from Richarlison. No attempt whatsoever to play the ball. Tottenham did this, didn't they? Like we said, they did it in Bodo, and they managed to see the game out. They got that second goal, the cushion of the second goal. You do just get the feeling that Manchester United are starting to dominate possession, and the longer this game goes, the deeper Tottenham will get, and it's still a long way to go.
Just over half an hour as Manchester United have a free kick, right-hand side, a few yards in from the right touchline, playing from left to right. Papsar stands alone. As Bruno Fernandes in towards the near post, and was just looking for that little touch by Yoro. And actually, as it came in, it was a very, very awkward one. Just couldn't get enough on it, could he?
Do you know what? That's such a good delivery from Bruno Fernandes. There's a gap there at the near post between the defenders and the goalkeeper. Such a difficult one for Vicario to judge. It's got whip and it's got dip on it. Bounces just in front of the Tottenham Hotspur goalkeeper. Yoro just can't get enough connection to lift it over him. Brilliant delivery from Bruno Fernandes.
Not too sure that Vicario knew much about it. It did strike the side of his chest as it goes out, but Manchester United have certainly had more of the possession in this second half, of which we've played 13 minutes, but they still trail by a goal to nil. Yoro out towards Mazraoui. Down the line he goes to Ahmad. Van de Ven, drawn out of position, goes towards Ahmad. He wanted the return ball. Instead it's Casemiro. Goes out to that far side to Dorgu. Shaw is over on the overlap. Here is the England international in now towards Mason Mount. Mason Mount holds off a couple of challenges. Does ever so well as he's losing his feet to keep the ball in play. They'll actually just present it to Porro to win a throw for Tottenham deep inside their own half. They lead 1-0. That's
really good play from Mason Mount, but another example of how deep that Tottenham are. Mason Mount was trying to keep the ball in on the byline. I just looked, every single Tottenham player, Dominic Solanke, was within 18 yards of their own goal. And when they do win the ball, they get the turnover possession. At the moment in the game, Tottenham don't have an out ball higher up the pitch.
Manchester United, the only unbeaten side in Europe, the top scorers in this Europa League competition this season, need a goal to level this final, as Ahmad with pace and menace bursts into the area. Richarlison on a yellow card had a nibble at him. He might have got the ball. Bruno Fernandes comes to him, tees it towards Yoro, takes it on, plays it towards Maguire, midway through the Tottenham half. Now towards Shaw, far side the left, blocked by the goal scorer Johnson, and then cleared away by Solanke, but they're sitting so deep, it's Solanke who's got to chase his own ball.
They're so deep, Tottenham. You can imagine the pictures. We're sat up here in our elevated position, looking down. They're so deep, everybody's inside that defensive third for Tottenham.
There's a momentum building for Manchester United. Mount with the early ball in low, looking for Højlund, took a deflection, scooped up by Vicario.
They can't play like this, Tottenham, for another 30 minutes and try and see the game out. Manchester United are completely dominating possession. They're trying to pull those white shirts out of position. To Tottenham's credit, they're defending well, they're sticking at their task. But you can't imagine that one is going to be enough for Tottenham playing this way. They're going to have to manage their way through a long 30 minutes plus added time.
49,224 is the official attendance inside this stadium that actually holds 53,000. Do you think that? Still think it's a scandal that you only had just under 15,000 tickets available to genuine match-going supporters who, by hook or by crook, have made their way to Bilbao. And as you will testify, that is not easy.
It certainly isn't. No, especially when you miss a connecting flight, Ian, isn't it?
Loose ball picked up by Sarr. Maguire's header forward, Casemiro. Bruno Fernandes getting on the ball for Manchester United, but then the interception from Johnson. And he gets it back from Sarr as he comes over the halfway line and runs forward. But the white shirts are slow to get with him. And sliding in was Dorgu, and the referee says he got the ball. Goes behind for a goal kick. Johnson slams his hand into the turf in annoyance.
Just another example of Tottenham's lack of willingness to go forward. Brennan Johnson takes on Dorgu, who does actually make a good challenge, gets the ball. Johnson looking up, there's nobody in a white shirt anywhere near the Manchester United penalty box.
Mason Mount, Dorgu continued his run, Cross takes the deflection, Ahmad takes it on, Ahmad inside the area, looked for too long, dwelt on the ball, and there was Bissouma to dispossess him, and now Bissouma launches a counter-attack. In fact, still they come forward, and this is Solanke, a little bit off balance, and Solanke couldn't get there, and it goes out for a goal kick.
That's an unbelievable chance. That really is a good chance for Tottenham. That's what they've been doing. They've been sat deep, waiting for that counter-attack. That was the moment. Bissouma bursts forward. He's got a 2-on-2. Casemiro can't keep up with Solanke. Plays it into Solanke, but it's far too far in front of Dominic Solanke. Can't take the first touch, and he runs out to play harmlessly. But that's what Tottenham are going to try and do on the break.
Rob Schofield, our producer, has said the stats for passes completed. Tottenham 97, Manchester United 253.
Shows you the way that the game is. It shows you the way that Tottenham are trying to break things up. They are quite happy to go long, and they're quite happy at the moment to not have possession. All they need is one moment like that in the game to capitalise on a counter-attack, and they can get that second goal. But it's a risky strategy.
Casemiro. Yoro goes square. Mazraoui inside the centre circle. 63 minutes played. Ahmad midway through the Tottenham half, near side the right to Bruno Fernandes. Joint leading scorer in the competition. Now to Casemiro. Out it goes to Dorgu on that far side. Still though playing in front of the white shirts of Tottenham. Casemiro now with Harry Maguire. Maguire. Forward ball. Yoro. Ahmad waits on this near side. Mazraoui is ahead of him. Opens up for Yoro. Runs forward. still keeps it, stretches out towards Maguire. Maguire then to Ahmad, Richarlison to close him down. Ahmad can't get past Richarlison. Richarlison, even though dropping to his knees at one point, quickly back to his feet and clears it. Bruno Fernandes just about gets it out of play for a throw, otherwise Solanke would have been faced one-on-one with Yoro.
Solanke is such a distance from goal, though. He's the only outlet that Tottenham have got. Richarlison does well there, doesn't shirk his defensive responsibilities, goes one-on-one with Ahmed, wins the ball back, gets the ball up the field. They are, I know I keep repeating it, but they are sitting so deep, Tottenham, when they don't have the ball.
Manchester United, who've not won in 6 against Tottenham since a 2-0 victory at Old Trafford in October 2022. They've never gone 7 without a win in that long history between the two clubs. But Manchester United are still trailing as we are edging our way to the midway point of the second half here on BBC Radio 5 Live, also live on Radio London and Radio Manchester. Udogie waits to take a throw, but there's a delay because Richarlison is down.
I think he just felt his hamstring on the stretch. He tried to nick it round Bruno Fernandes, overstretched. You can hear the supporters.
Son's players
come over.
They've seen that the Spurs substitutes were warming up away towards our right, which is the Tottenham end, and then they saw that Son, who's been such a great servant for Tottenham, is getting the call to come on. He missed 7 games, but he's had an opportunity. He got 32 minutes against Crystal Palace, played 74 minutes against Aston Villa, so clearly they didn't want to risk him from the start here. But Son Heung-min, who lost the 2019 Champions League final and the 2021 League Cup final, is going to be coming on, and he's getting the captain's armband as well from Romero, and it is Richarlison who is going on.
Yeah, worked hard, Richarlison, not so much avail in the forward areas, but worked hard defensively, carrying a yellow card as well, made a couple of poor challenges, walking off, carrying his left boot in his hand, trying to encourage his teammates as he walks off. But this is a good substitution for Tottenham. He's probably close for Son, whether he started the game or not. Experienced player of quality that the manager can call on.
And not only that, Son actually makes a bit of history for Tottenham Hotspur, because he now is their European appearance record maker, beating the record that he previously shared with Harry Kane. It is his 68th appearance in European competition. But still, no Garnacho.
No, Manchester United substitutes since half-time, since we came out for the second half. They've all been off the bench, and they're all in that bottom left-hand corner beneath us, warming up, stretching, but no sign of any activity or signals coming from the Manchester United manager yet.
And we have been playing now for 67 minutes. Hasn't been pretty. But it is still captivating for what is at stake. As there's a yellow card there to Basuma for the delaying of a restart for a free kick to Manchester United and holding Ahmad.
Yeah, becoming petulant as well at times, isn't it? Really silly free kicks, niggly free kicks. Basuma it was that time, gets himself booked for his reaction, tries to stop Ahmad taking a quick free kick, wraps his arms around him. Referee, to his credit, he's handled a difficult game reasonably well.
It's the 4th yellow card and the 3rd to a Tottenham player. Midway through the second half, then Spurs still lead 1-0. Free kick goes right down the throat. Vicario's lost it. Højlund heads it goals. Fantastic goal line clearance by Van de Ven. Hit goals by Yoro, blocked, and Spurs managed to get the ball away. Van de Ven is still tangled in the goal line, in the goal net. What an acrobatic goal line clearance. He's injured. He's off the field of play. In fact, he's now rolling into the 6-yard area. How did he keep that out?
What a brilliant goal line clearance on Van de Ven. That's incredible. He's gone high. He's jumped with both feet. He's managed to hook it off his goal line. He certainly won't thank Vicario for that. Once again, Vicario. He comes. It's a difficult through ball from Bruno Fernandes. It's a difficult one for the goalkeeper because it's straight. But he's got a clear view of it. Dominic Solanke gets in his way, but he should still get up and above Dominic Solanke. He gets it all wrong, Vicario, fumbles the ball, it falls to Højlund, heads it goalwards, and Mickey Van de Ven flies acrobatically through the air. lifts his right boot and right leg high under the crossbar and somehow manages to scoop it away for Tottenham. Goalkeeper makes a real mess. Van der Ven gets him out of jail.
I just said it's right at his throat. I thought that would be absolutely simple for a goalkeeper of his standing, Vicario.
It was, but there's been a problem for him of late. He's been really poor since coming back into the side. He got two hands on it and he wasn't looking. His depth perception wasn't right. He went over Solanke's head. He should be up and over Solanke, catching it cleanly. He took it at the same height as the Tottenham attacker's head, which caused him the problems. Came to Højlund. What a clearance, by the way. What an incredible clearance that is.
Went through his hand, struck his head, and then Højlund with a header, but Van der Ven with the acrobatic goal line clearance. Garnacho and Xerxes are coming on. Incredible that we're seeing Xerxes. We were told he was ruled out for the season, but they pushed him, he responded. And when we spoke to Ruben Amorim yesterday, he said we're surprised. He said, yeah, me too. But Garnacho waits to come on, and they need something to happen for Manchester United because they only have 20 minutes. Mentioned before, about 3 of the last 4 finals have finished 1-1, and we've gone to a penalty shootout. Manchester United need to get on the scoreboard. They're trailing by a goal to nil here with 20 minutes remaining. Garnacho waits with his peroxide blonde hair and the bushy-haired figure of Xerxes. In the minute, meanwhile, Casemiro plays it forward towards Matsraoui. Van der Ven follows him all the way. Inside the Manchester United half, Porro picks up the loose ball. His diagonal cross is cleared by Yoro, headed forward by Udogie. Son now picks it up. Son runs forward. Ahmad gets the foot into the challenge. Still very, very scrappy. Matsraoui free kick to Manchester United.
Do you know what this is like? This is like a load of school kids on lunchtime playing in the playground, chasing after a tennis ball. It's been such a scrappy game. There's no kind of pattern, there's no rhythm to it. But we're getting to the stage now, the last 20 minutes, as Manchester United make these substitutions, that Tottenham really will now go into defensive mode. And Manchester United, they've got to give it everything. They've got 20 minutes to try and salvage something.
Mason Mount and Højlund are the 2 players coming off. Joshua Xerxes comes on then for Højlund. He's missed the last 8 games with a hamstring injury when he picked up that against Newcastle in mid-April. And Garnacho comes on for Mason Mount, who scored those 2 very good goals against Athletic Bilbao in the second leg at Old Trafford. And Garnacho comes on with 19 minutes remaining. And Manchester United still trail. Ahmad to Yoro. So Xerxes has gone central. Ahmad is on the right, Garnacho on the left.
Same shape as you would expect from Manchester United. Change of personnel. Xerxes playing down the middle as the number 9. Garnacho is a lot more effective on that left-hand side. He could be the game changer for Manchester United.
18 minutes remain. Yoro finds Xerxes, lays it off. Matsraoui the cross. Bruno Fernandes with a header. Down into the ground and just wide. Good chance that they created, but Bruno Fernandes off target.
Best chance of the game for Manchester United. Spurs defenders, Romero and Van der Ven, for the first time in the game, you could drive a bus between the middle of them. Bruno Fernandes ghosts into the box right between the middle of them. Maguire plays a lovely ball into Fernandes, diving header, but he's just in front of the near post, doesn't get the connection, doesn't get it right. Unfortunately for Tottenham and their supporters, it goes wide, but again it's a warning shot from Manchester United.
Spurs have offered very little, if nothing at all, in this second half. In an attacking sense. Nothing
at all. They had that one really good opportunity when Basuma and Solanke made a mess of a 2-on-2 situation, but other than that we are literally fixed looking to our right with Manchester United attacking the Tottenham defence.
Garnacho spreads the play out towards Yoro, still inside his own half. Ahmad on this near side, the right, waits. Ruben Amorim desperate to try and get Manchester United players going, waving his right arm around in a circular movement. Dorgu towards Garnacho, closed down very quickly by Bentancur, and out it goes for a throw that Manchester United will have to take quickly.
An incredible atmosphere that we had. There's just a slight lull, there's a nervousness, and you can feel that just drifting down onto the pitch.
Garnacho comes forward on the left, but again another good challenge came in from Porro. Still the ball though, Luke Goldwood saved this time and caught this time by Vicario.
2 ironic cheers from those in white shirts behind him. Garnacho, it was one-on-one with Porro, gets round the full-back, lifts it up, it would have been a corner, but Vicario takes a clean catch. They're going to need more of that, Manchester United, from Garnacho.
Spurs do try and play out from the back. It goes back to Vicario, and on this occasion he takes no chances. Right-footed long clearance. Bruno Fernandes flicks the ball forward. Xerxes back towards Fernandes, hits it first time out towards Garnacho. Garnacho controls it and now runs forward on his toes, enters the area. Garnacho shoots. Vicario makes the save. Low down to his left and spoons it behind for a corner. Manchester United are on top.
Much better from Manchester United, and it is that man Garnacho on the left-hand side. We see him do it so often. Once he gets into the box, nobody can touch him. Brennan Johnson nowhere near him. Porro can't put a challenge in. Gets on his right foot, low down to Vicario's left. It's a decent save with a strong hand, but one you would expect the Tottenham goalkeeper to make.
Just over a quarter of an hour remains, and it is tense here in Bilbao on BBC Radio 5 Live. Bruno Fernandes with a corner kick, near side to right, right-footed. Solanke gets the ball away with a header, picked up then by Ahmed. Out towards Bruno Fernandes, feeds it back towards Ahmed. Ahmed, oh, a challenge there by Brennan Johnson, just managed to prod it away and concede the corner kick.
He was almost in, Ahmed, there, wasn't he? Really good 1-2 by him, and Bruno Fernandes down on this near touchline. Fernandes slips Ahmed in through the legs of Basuma. Johnson with a last-minute challenge.
Fernandes again waits. Bruno Fernandes right-footed. Comes out towards Shaw, edge of the area, strikes it, blocked by Sarr. Shaw will get there first, plays it back towards Matsraoui. Plays it long, Bruno Fernandes lays it off. Casemiro, caught in possession by Basuma. The break is on for Tottenham, who still lead by a goal to nil. Excellent challenge being made there by Dorgu. Manchester United get it back. And we're back now still to this frenetic pace here inside this stadium in Bilbao, as Manchester United, with 14 minutes remaining, look for an equaliser. Garnacho comes forward, Shaw on the overlap, challenge made by Porro. The referee says it's a goal kick. I think some thought he was pointing to the penalty spot.
I think it was, yeah. For Manchester United fans away to our left from a distance, the referee's arm went straight and he pointed towards the 6-yard line rather than the penalty spot. I certainly think Pedro Porro held his breath for a minute. Again, Manchester United winning the ball back, Dorgu tracking back Son. It was a lovely challenge, turnover possession, and the first player they look for, Garnacho down the left-hand side. Luke Shaw, it was overlapping. Porro doesn't really get much of the ball, but in the referee's opinion, enough of it.
This is Tottenham's 4th European final, whether it be the UEFA or Europa League. I was actually surprised that it's only their 8th ever UEFA fixture in Spain, and they've never won. Obviously they lost the Champions League final in 2019 in Madrid. They've drawn 3 and they lost 4, but they could be getting such an important win here. It's been such a long wait for silverware, and that long agonising wait may be over. They've still got another 13 minutes of normal time to endure here in Bilbao. They're on the defensive, and Manchester United have all the possession. Yoro out towards Ahmed, right hand side, plays it back. Yoro able to carry the ball forward. Kevin Danso is going to be coming on, so another defensive substitution in the offing for Ange Postecoglou. Shaw infield, Casemiro's forward ball easily stopped by Bentancur, and it's a Tottenham Hotspur throw on the right.
An interesting choice in substitution from the manager. We wait now, the referee signals at the substitution, the board goes up, and it's Brennan Johnson. Now that is a defensive substitution if I've ever seen one, taking a right winger off and bringing a central defender on. Be interesting to see where he plays, whether he slots in as a holding midfielder in front of the back four, or they are actually going to switch potentially to a back three.
Well, Son actually is running across to get those instructions from Ange Postecoglou, as Brennan Johnson, the goal scorer, the only goal that we've witnessed here in Bilbao, goes off on the far side of the field and now whips up the Tottenham crowd as he takes the plaudits as he walks in front of the celebrating Spurs supporters away towards our right. And Danso is on, and it's a
back five. It's a back five. Now that is going into a back five very, very early. Should they concede now, you look at the other options. that Ange Postecoglou's got. That is one of the biggest statements that he can make. Tottenham are so deep and they've been sat on the edge of their own box most of this second half. Now with the back five, they're only going to get deeper. Looking at what they're doing, they're asking Udogie's going to play left wing back, the three centre halves, and Pedro Porro is the right wing back. At the moment, they've got six at the back because Heung-min Son is playing as a left back.
Forget Ange ball. Postecoglou has gone pragmatic. They still lead 1-0. Ahmad comes to a standstill, plays it back. Casemiro's first time ball in. Papsar headed it away before it could reach Garnacho. Out it goes off his head for a throw to Manchester United, 10 yards up from the far left corner.
You think from Tottenham's point of view, if they are going to play this defensive, what have they got in the counter-attack? You look for pace. OK, they've got the pace of Son, possibly Solanke, but now Johnson's gone off. They've got no outball.
Yoro's forward. That's the voice of Paul Robinson, who's with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Ahmed, Casemiro shuffles it forward. Van de Ven, his header away. If the match winner is Brennan Johnson, then the match saver will be Van de Ven with that acrobatic goal line clearance. Still, they're looking to protect this slender lead. Mazraoui challenged by Bissouma. Goes out for a United throw. Down by the corner flag. Hurriedly taken by Mazraoui. Ahmad swings over the cross. Headed away by Van de Ven. Solanke, his header, he has to chase himself, but Maguire will get there first towards Yoro. Maguire in the centre circle as Manchester United, with their red shirts, find the England international. Great noise though coming from the Tottenham support in the end that Manchester United are attacking. Here is Ahmad in towards Mazraoui, first time cross, Bentancur, his header headed away by Van de Ven inside his penalty area. Just keeps coming back though at Tottenham. Yoro gets away from Solanke, right side of the area, crosses towards the far post, nobody is there. Garnacho will retrieve it. 2 or 3 yards up from the byline. Garnacho picks out Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes can't get a sight of goal. Back towards Garnacho. Garnacho with a cutback, swept to safety by Bissouma.
Defence versus attack. It's all Manchester United. Tottenham can't clear the box. They can't get off the edge of their own 18-yard box. Every time they do it comes straight back at them. They've got nobody up the field. They've got no outball. It's going to be a long 10 minutes for Tottenham if they're going to defend like this.
Here is Garnacho on the left-hand side. Showed too much towards Porro. Porro, who's been outstanding. This is his 50th game of this season for Tottenham Hotspur. And Postecoglou was raving about him the other week. Solanke's done ever so well. Solanke on the right, forward towards Son, and that needed to be an excellent challenge by Mazraoui, and it was well timed on the edge of the area, otherwise Son was in. Now Yoro picks it up, and now out towards Bruno Fernandes on that far side, the left. Garnacho, Manchester United still pressing. Here is Bruno Fernandes, crosses into the penalty area, saved by Vicario, pats it down gently.
That's the only option that Tottenham have got on the counter-attack. It is all Manchester United. For them now, it's about moving the ball quickly, trying to pull these white shirts out of position. Tottenham have made the stance. You can see clearly what they're going to do. For Manchester United now, it's about trying to overpower them. It's about getting ball in the wide areas, but keeping the pace of the game going and trying to pull the Tottenham defenders out of the position. They're having all the possession. It's literally defence against attack. It's one-way traffic.
I mentioned Tottenham's record in UEFA competition in the country of Spain. Manchester United fans will certainly not need reminding of their last European final in Spain, in Barcelona, when they came from behind to beat Bayern Munich by 2 goals to 1, as Dalot is going to be coming on for Manchester United. Another one who's coming back from injury. He's missed the last 6 games with a calf problem. So again, he won't be fully fit. But they, in a desperate attempt to try and salvage their season, in a desperate attempt to try and salvage this Europa League final, with 7 minutes remaining. Manchester United have Garnacho on the ball, far side the left as they trail by a goal to 0. Come on you Spurs, from the Tottenham Hotspur supporters, to try and carry their side over the line. Shaw just in from the touchline, back towards Maguire. He's almost at a standstill. Out to Mazraoui. Ahmad with the whip in front of the Spurs substitutes, who you can hear offering their own vocal encouragement. As Ahmad lost out to Udogie. Bissouma gives it to Udogie. who now has to go it alone. The white shirts, tired white legs there from some of the Tottenham players in the white shirts. And then Udogie is fouled by Xerxes, and that is shown a yellow card. But you can see the cramp. Udogie's got cramp.
He's run a long way, Udogie. That's the only time that Tottenham have managed to venture into the Manchester United half for a long time. He had no support, he had nobody around him. He wins a vital free kick just to get his team up the pitch, just to get them some kind of a respite. Manchester United have got all the possession, they've got all the ball. Tottenham really struggling.
And it is a little bit of respite as we wait to see. It's going to be like for like. Matsraoui has gone off. Dalot has come on. It is his 50th appearance in European competition. Ahmad is getting some instructions as well from Ruben Amorim. As Spurs have a free kick, and I think probably for the first time in this second half, and we're now in the 85th minute, every outfield player is in the Manchester United half as they play from right to left.
It's just been non-stop, hasn't it? It's been an absolutely fast, flying pace game. It has lacked quality. In all honesty, there's a lot of quality players on the pitch, but it's lacked a lot of quality in the right areas. It's been so scrappy.
Rob tells me that Spurs have only made 20 passes in the last 20 minutes. Son curls the free kick in. It was one that was dropping very, very awkwardly, and Danso was the one who threw himself at it. Just couldn't get the touch there, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Nearly got round the far post, didn't he? Manchester United holding a very high line on the edge of the 18-yard box. It was a free kick from quite deep, quite a way out. Good ball in by Son. Nobody picked Danso up round the far post. You feel a goal at this point for Tottenham, that would do it.
Yes, it surely would, with 5 minutes remaining. But Manchester United are the ones who've been awarded a free kick, which Bruno Fernandes wants to take. Fernandes right-footed, diagonal ball, Maguire gets there, and the head flag goes up. Casemiro also, who is rising. And Vicario, lying on top of the ball, is in no hurry to get back to his feet. We see this a lot now from goalkeepers these days, don't we?
Well, the Tottenham players are going down all over the pitch. Udogie's just gone down on this near touch line underneath us. Christian Romero, as the ball goes into the goalkeeper's hand, Harry Maguire was absolutely raging. He just throws himself to the floor in the 6-yard box. Maguire goes over, tries to pick him up. But Tottenham really are trying to see out this clock. They're struggling at this point. And listen, I've been to a lot of Manchester United games this year. None more so than the late drama at home in the quarter-final against Lyon. There's still time.
There is still time. Casemiro spreads play. Udogie running back, heads it away, picked up by Xerxes. Xerxes now runs forward, holds off the challenge of Basuma. Xerxes with a shot. Basuma though recovered and got a very good block in on the edge of the penalty area. Dalot picks it up. Dalot to Ahmad just on the inside of him. 3 minutes remain of normal time. Tottenham Hotspur still lead Manchester United in this all-English affair by a 0-0. Manchester United knocking at the door. Shaw with a cross, high, Maguire goes to ground. Romero again tells him to get up. Maguire reacts. Xerxes pushes Romero. There's been that continuing war of words between the two central defenders, and still they continue to bicker.
There's some real frustration. Aggression's pouring out now. Xerxes getting involved. Van der Ven and Romero, you could see from the start they've been up for this, and it's a real true gritty defensive performance, and those two have been at the heart of it, and they've wound up the Manchester United players. Maguire and Romero have been at it all game.
Vicario goes long. Son tried to hook it with a volley goalwards. Romero and Maguire again clash. Romero reacts. Maguire is having to be pushed away by some of the Tottenham players. Starting to get ugly. Yellow card has been shown to Harry Maguire by the German referee, and Xerxes is having to be restrained by Bentancur at the moment as well. Xerxes, who himself is on a yellow card.
It was a poor challenge from Harry Maguire. Romero certainly making the most of it. Romero got there first, he won the header. Maguire just wraps his arm around him, checks him, sends him to the ground. Harry Maguire's getting very frustrated. He's in that makeshift centre-forward role when Manchester United are in possession. We've got to that point in the game. Christian Romero still laid on the floor.
I think it was the Daily Mirror today that had the headline on the back page, Rocky Bilbao, and Ange Postecoglou coming out fighting. Well, at the minute, you've got these two teams. It has felt like the Battle of Bilbao, because it hasn't been one for the purists, has it, at all?
No, it's been a really tough watch and a very, very nervous one from a Tottenham fan's point of view in the second half. All the Tottenham fans all season have cried for Ange to be a bit more pragmatic, a bit more defensively tight, playing a different system and maybe be hard to beat in a cup final for 45 minutes. Thus far, they've managed to achieve that, but it's certainly not been pretty.
So Jed Spence and Archie Gray are coming on. Again, defensive reinforcements. Garnacho has just told Sarr to get off the field. Sarr has then pushed Garnacho. Bentancur getting involved with Garnacho once again. It's all getting very, very needless. Kobbie Mainoo's going to be coming on as well for Manchester United. So first of all, it is going to be Udogie who goes off for Jed Spence, for him to come on to replace Udogie. Not surprised about that, because he's had cramp.
Yeah, he's been tightening up Udogie. He's put in a lot of work. He's worked tirelessly backwards and forwards. Archie Gray comes on for Pat Sarr, I think it's going to be. Jed Spence will come in, sit in that left-back area. He's done well of late, Jed Spence. Done well to get back into the side. And for Manchester United, Kobbie Mainoo coming on.
So, Dorgu has gone off for Kobbie Mainoo. And then you've had Pat Sarr and Udogie going off for Gray and Spence to come on. They're the changes that have been made.
As we're waiting for added time, the referee's now done his substitutions. He's gone back for his other board. We're about to find out how long they've got left.
Here comes the fourth official. 7 minutes of added on time that we're now into. 7 minutes for Tottenham Hotspur to hang on. 7 minutes for Manchester United to try and conjure up something here in Bilbao.
Harry Maguire, he's staying up there now. He's between Romero and Kevin Danso. Where have we seen that combination late in the game before? Kobbie Mainoo and Harry Maguire.
Well, I'll take you back. Oh, hold on, there's going to be a yellow card shown to somebody on the Manchester United bench. It's not to Ruben Amorim. It was to somebody else who's spoken out of turn. In fact, it might be Lindelof, the substitute, who's been shown a yellow card. Tensions boiling over down below. 6 minutes remain then. Come on, you Spurs, is the cry away towards our right. Dalot picks it up. Casemiro now towards Shaw. Shaw towards Garnacho. Garnacho passes the ball to Dalot. Out it goes to Ahmad. Xerxes, right side of the penalty area, back towards Ahmad. But Spurs are defending well, restricting Manchester United to few opportunities. Yoro leaves it for Dalot. Diagonal ball enters the penalty area. Maguire is in there. Came off Maguire's head last, and it'll be a goal kick.
He's wrestling again, Harry Maguire and Romero. Bruno Fernandes is round the referee. Maguire and Fernandes both in the referee's ear. Now trying to get Tottenham to hurry up and take this goal kick. There's one big moment in this game for somebody. There's an opportunity for a Manchester United player. There's a save to come from the Tottenham goalkeeper. With 5 minutes to go, there's going to be a match-defining moment at some point. You can just feel it coming.
Well, as we've already touched upon, they have had and got a history of leaving it late. We see images of some Manchester United supporters in tears, young Manchester United supporters in tears, who've been lucky enough to get a ticket inside this stadium today. Meanwhile, contrast that to the emotions of the Tottenham supporters who are starting to celebrate, jumping up and down, hugging each other, some bare-chested. The white and navy flags are flying. They are so close. They're within touching distance. As Jed Spence waits to take it, chips it forward, cut out by Dalot. Bruno Fernandes goes towards Shaw, runs forward on the edge of the area. Garnacho collecting the ball midway through his own half. Now towards Yoro, to Ahmad, who comes forward with 4 minutes remaining. He wanted Dalot to go on ahead of him. Instead they have to go back. Still playing in front of Tottenham. Archie Gray with his fresh legs runs forward. Shaw finds Garnacho. Garnacho with a cross. Headed away very, very well by Bissouma. Bruno Fernandes volleys the ball out towards Ahmad. He's the go-to man. Ahmad, right corner of the area with a cross. It's a teasing one. Good header away that by Kevin Danso under pressure.
That's an excellent header away by Danso, and he's trying to get the Spurs defenders and the players out of the 6-yard box and out of the 18-yard box. But yet again, Manchester United come once again. Another wave of possession and pressure.
Ahmad to Dalot. Dalot goes in field. Euro 30 yards out from goal. Porro's flying header away. Reaches Bruno Fernandes. Thought about the shot. Sticks it onto his left boot. Passes the ball out wide. Garnacho cuts it back. Archie Gray is there. Spurs obdurate opposition. Bruno Fernandes edge of the area towards Garnacho. Is there a way through? Garnacho to Euro. Euro shot from distance. The Spurs celebrations and cheers will tell you it's over the top as seconds tick by, and by my watch we're about 2.5 minutes away as Ange Postecoglou indeed checks with the fourth official.
There's a lot of dejected body language in red shirts there. The referee now telling Vicario to hurry up. Ball into the box again, well defended by Tottenham. They've defended their goals so well, the back three that it is now. Romero, Danso, Van de Ven. Romero and Van de Ven have been absolutely outstanding tonight, the two Tottenham centre-halves.
Under 2 minutes remaining. Manchester United need an equaliser. Tottenham Hotspur are so close. I was actually in a text conversation with somebody quite high up at Tottenham today, and they said it feels different. This time it feels different. This time it may well be different. Shaw over the halfway line. Goes long. Flick header by Dalot. Into the path of Ahmed. Back towards Dalot, first time cross, high, swinging towards the far post. The bodies go up, bit of a player goes down inside a very crowded 6-yard area. Felix Bayer, the German referee's not having any of that.
Casemiro,
Casemiro.
Casemiro is a real melee at the far post. Good ball into the Tottenham box, they somehow managed to smuggle it away. Casemiro went down looking for the penalty. Referee wasn't interested.
We're now in Barcelona time in Bilbao. Ahmad to Dalot. Back towards Ahmad. Bruno Fernandes. Deafening whistles from the Tottenham supporters. Work it back out towards the right. Dalot's cross, queuing up. What a save from Vicario. What a save that was. Diving low down to his left. It was a goal-bound header. But Vicario responded so well.
Brilliant save by Vicario. That could have just won Tottenham the game. It's an incredible save by Vicario. Free header for Luke Shaw, down to his left. Strong hands.
Dalot with another cross. Shaw again is there. Headed out by Danso. By my watch, it's 15 seconds into the penalty area. Headed away by Van de Ven. Intense late pressure. Dalot wins a corner kick for Manchester United. The keeper's coming up, Onana.
This is it for Manchester United. This is last-ditched opportunity. It's a free header in the box. It's a really well-worked play from Manchester United. Luke Shaw forces a brilliant save from Vicario. What a massive moment that could be for Vicario and Tottenham. This really is the last throws.
The 7 minutes of added on time are up. We're now at the discretion of the referee. This has got to be the last bit of the action. It's a corner kick to Manchester United in front of the Tottenham supporters, who bear now not to watch. Those premature celebrations are on hold. Corner kick. In it comes from Dalot. The keeper is there. Up it goes to Garnacho. Into the side netting. Now the Spurs supporters can celebrate. They are desperate for the referee to blow his whistle. They are close. They are so close now. All eyes on the referee.
It's a really good defensive header there at the near post by Bissouma. Comes up to Garnacho. Garnacho and Casemiro fighting over it at the far post. Ends up going into the side netting. The Tottenham players surrounding the referee. They're desperate for the final whistle, trying to tell their own players to get up and get on with the game.
Bissouma went to ground, and then Romero said, no, get onto your feet. They know that when this ball goes in the air, the referee will surely blow the final whistle. The long wait is over. Tottenham Hotspur players drop to their knees. The substitutes spin onto the pitch, and the wild celebrations in the Tottenham Hotspur end. It is their first European trophy in 41 years. It is their first bit of silverware in 17 years and 86 days. And Ange Postecoglou has delivered on his promise of silverware in his second season. Perhaps a parting gift, who knows? But Tottenham Hotspur have salvaged their season. Meanwhile, at the other end, the Manchester United supporters are heading to the exits in their droves, and they face the unusual prospects of no European football next season. However, for Tottenham, they will be rubbing shoulders with Europe's elite, but for now, they're not bothered about that. They've won a trophy for the first time since 2008.
What scenes and limbs over to our right-hand side, those Tottenham Hotspur supporters, the players, the staff, the supporters. You can see now what that means to this club. They've won a trophy, they take away that Spursy tag. Nobody can point that at them anymore. 17 long years without the trophy to wait for silverware. A really poor domestic campaign has all turned round. A European trophy, Champions League football, and who knows what springboard that could be for the club. But for those supporters that have waited so long, the outpouring emotion is absolutely phenomenal.
Brennan Johnson, the match winner. Van der Ven with his acrobatic goal line clearance, and Vicario for his splendid saves, the match savers, as the celebrations go on here in Bilbao, and I'm sure they'll go on long into the night, because Tottenham Hotspur are the European League champions. Mark.
And you watch them at the moment, Paul, and you watch the fans and you watch the players and you watch Postecoglou, and it is a mixture of joy and delirium and disbelief as well, I think.
And it's an outpouring of relief, an absolute outpouring of relief from those supporters. You can see that. Ange Postecoglou immediately mobbed by all his coaching staff down below us on the touchline. And the celebrations, the players still haven't come together as a group. They're all running round. It's the delirious. They don't know where to go to celebrate. Richarlison's running round, swinging his shirt above his head. Vicario keeps going backwards and forwards to the crowd. Son's over the far side. They're all scattered all over the pitch. It's incredible scenes for a club that has been starved of silverware for so long.
And they won it, Michael Brown, in ironies of ironies, by parking the bus.
He said he doesn't want to change his tactics. What's made him do it? I was sat here watching it thinking, is he really doing this early? Then he puts another centre-back in, doesn't move, incredible scenes. He's changed his way, he's got success. The scenes are absolutely incredible. The work rate, the desire to keep that ball out, defending for such a long period of time, and for Ange Postecoglou, I can only imagine what he's thinking. He had no chance. He was thinking, where does this go? Everybody laughing at him. He's only gone and done it. I mean, what does he do next? These next 5 or 10 minutes, I've just got my eyes all over him.
Yeah, and Ian and Paul will be keeping an eye on him as well. But there were, going and Paul, we had doubts about it pre-match. All the legs in the midfield, but maybe no creativity, and every decision, and he had Van der Ven and Romero back, and he's kept them back at times over the last 6-8 weeks, hasn't he, to make sure they were fit for tonight. Every decision has paid off for him.
Well, it certainly has. He's got the trophy that he promised, and he's delivered, hasn't he? So it's going to be him that's having the last laugh tonight. I mean, it was a poor watch, it really was. But you could see
it was a terrible game.
It was an awful game, but Tottenham ruined it. Tottenham spoilt the game, and that was the game plan. And when he brought Danso on, and they played with 3 centre-halves and 5 at the back, I mean, even with a back 4, they couldn't get off their own 18-yard line. And with a back 5, back 6, Son was playing left-back at some points. It's just not what we're used to seeing from Ange Postecoglou. It was a gritty, horrible, defensive, determined, rugged performance.
Mark, can I just say as well, at the moment you've got every Tottenham player celebrating in front of the Tottenham supporters, with the exception of young Archie Gray, who is showing maturity and a great deal of grace beyond his tender years. For somebody who's only 18 years of age, he is the only white shirt going up to every single Manchester United player to offer his consoling words. As he's gone through everybody, Ruben Amorim, Bruno Fernandes, every single one is Archie Gray. I just think that is a touch of class from the young man.
Paul, you say Spurs shut it down and ruin. Well, I don't know if you said ruin the game, but you say something about shut the game down. Manchester United didn't have the ability or the tactical tweaks to even open that game up. I mean, they offered absolutely nothing.
They're so rigid in that formation, and that's one thing that I say about Ruben Amorim. He's so wedded to his formation and his system. Actually, Tottenham, they were quite hybrid within the game. They changed formation. They were quite fluid in the way that they changed the formation. Yes, it wasn't pretty, but Manchester United made substitutions. It was just plan A with different personnel. It wasn't done quick enough from them. They weren't able to find the key to the door, and they weren't able to pull this Tottenham team out of the defensive
Robbo, that's shape. exactly what we said, Robbo. That's what he does, doesn't he? Do you know, until it's late on, and then he says, right, we'll go for it now. But it was too little, too late, and then Spurs had something the other side,
didn't they? Harry Maguire as a striker. That's his attacking change. What he does, Ruben Amorim. If they're struggling and chasing the game, they put Harry Maguire as a centre forward for the last 5 minutes.
I was thinking as well, Ian. Not only has the manager been much maligned, but the goalkeeper's had his critics, and he made a valuable save right at the end. Brennan Johnson, before they went to Coventry in the Carabao Cup earlier this season, was getting a bit of stick, and actually he rescued them in the League Cup there this season. Several individuals who've had some stick have delivered tonight.
Well, yes, quite, and Vicario in particular, especially after bearing in mind that he made that mistake that led to the Van de Ven acrobatic goal line clearance from the Højlund header. But the save to the left from Garnacho was sharp, but the one from the bullet header from Luke Shaw looked goal-bound, didn't it? So he certainly redeemed himself. I just think there's so many parallels here for Tottenham and their last European success in 1984, referenced in commentary about the players who were missing from the midfield. You've got Son in tears down below. I mean, Son, who's tasted the disappointment of previous finals that he's lost in 2019 in the Champions League, and 2 years later in the League Cup. Case of third time lucky. He was asked questions in the press conference yesterday. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning in South Korea, when a lot of the Koreans be watching and cheering him on. He's got success with Tottenham Hotspur. But of course, in 1984, when they beat Anderlecht, Keith Birkinshaw left the club. That was his final game. I'm still of the opinion that this will be a parting of the ways for Ange Postecoglou, who, despite all of the bodies down there, I'm still struggling to pick him out. I've seen Kulusevski celebrating with his crutches, waving them in the air and still not managing to fall over, but I still can't pick out Ange Postecoglou.
Paul, can you?
I've seen him. He's just going through his coaching staff and giving them all a hug. There was a nice little moment actually yesterday in the press conference, Mark. They had a barbecue at the Tottenham training ground just to try and get that camaraderie going, and he said it was player driven. He said, listen mate, he says, I'm an Aussie, you know we like a barbie. I would have been there if I hadn't had to be with you lot. As Van de Ven just breaks away from the Tottenham players, comes across this near right corner, leaps into the air
again,
tubs his chest and celebrates. Oh, the goal line clearance!
Do you know what?
Outstanding. Ridiculous.
I think that's probably the most memorable moment of. Tottenham fans will also say Brennan Johnson's goal, but the most memorable moment of that whole Europa League final was that Van de Ven clearance, wasn't it?
I would think so.
Two game-winning moments. Obviously, the goal aside, the save from Vicario and the clearance from Van de Ven. I mean, that's all Tottenham offered in the second half. I think they ventured into the opposition half once, twice at a push.
Brownie?
It wasn't a game, was it, for highlights and massive moments. These are the moments now. Those Spurs fans who've waited such a long time for it, who've travelled over. There's a massive, obviously, gathering at the stadium as well, obviously getting behind them for such a long time in regards to this Spursy tag. Robbo's just mentioned it before, but it's just a special night, and the manager has delivered it, which it makes it even more because of the league form, the position they're in, what's next, how can this help the football club progress. Obviously a wonderful stadium, wonderful training ground, but still an uncertainty around them. But tonight there's something they've finally wanted, and it's not about moments, it's just about them delivering a win, delivering that trophy, because they've took a lot of stick, these supporters, haven't they, for a long time.
And in fact, Brennan Johnson, Paul, has just said something similar to TNT. This season hasn't been good at all, but I swear not one of us players care about that. The club hasn't won a trophy for 17 years. This is what it means. All the fans get battered. We get battered for not winning a trophy. But we have had to get the first one in a while today, and I am so happy. Ever since I came here, everyone says Tottenham are a good team but can never get it done. Tonight, we got it done, and that's exactly what Brownie said, Paul. The fans get battered, the players get battered, the club gets battered. They can't batter them anymore.
Excellently well summed up, really well summed up. I mean, that's it in a nutshell, isn't it? And I think that's the biggest thing for those Spurs supporters, that tag and the ability to not get it over the line and to be trophyless for so long. That will no longer go with them. You know, they'll just turn around and say, well, we've won a European trophy and the Champions League. That whole stigma that's been taken away, jokes aside, you've improved a Tottenham fan's daily life for the very near future.
Gareth Bale has said on TNT as well, Michael, Ange now goes down as a legendary manager for winning a European trophy. You'll look back at this in 10 years and you'll see the Europa League trophy and nothing else. Hopefully it'll be a stepping stone.
Well, we'll soon see, won't we? But we've discussed it, and I was just had a funny feeling for a month or so now that imagine if he's done it. We've talked lots on these shows, chappers, about if he does it, what will be next, the smile on his face. I mean, because everyone, honestly, when he said it and gone, right, I deliver it in my second season, it was like, oh, has he really just said that? And it's not gone away. And now for him to do it, I just can't wait to hear his words afterwards, because they're going to be so interesting. But the fans, finally, I mean, the joy, the players, so many staff have been there, as Rob will tell you, for such a long time. It's a great football club, and now there'll be nights like this to celebrate the success. It's brilliant.
If he was thinking this is the end and I'm just going,
he's got to check out.
I'd be tempted not to say anything to anybody and just walk off.
Yeah, everyone saw mic drop moment. See you later. Down the tunnel in a little while, and just
Walks into the press conference tonight, puts the trophy on the table.
That's it. Says, I'll see you later, guys.
There you go.
Thanks very much. You just leave it. It's been good seeing you.
I tell you what, Ian, you talked about Archie Gray. Postecoglou's going around every single one of the United players now.
Yeah, he is, and he's been followed by a number of the Tottenham players too who've gone through. But I just thought that moment from Archie Gray in particular, he wasn't one about celebrating. He's only 18, the young man, and it is now at an end that is virtually deserted. I mean, Manchester United supporters left in their droves on the final whistle, and now you've probably got just hundreds.
What? You're going to stay and applaud that, are you?
No.
If that was you, would you?
I mean, no, I wouldn't, but I just think that, we've talked a lot about Tottenham. Manchester United now, only once in the last 35 years have they not been involved in Europe. That was 14-15 when they finished 7th. Their first trophyless season in 10 years. The repercussions for Manchester United now, missing out on the Champions League, the financial rewards that come with it, this is a huge setback for Manchester United.
Well, they're not good enough to be in Europe, are they, Paul?
Well, neither of these two teams are, if you look at their domestic form. I mean, 39 losses combined between now and the end of the season. There's going to be more added to that list, I'm sure. But actually, listen, those were the rules at the start of this competition, and the winners of these was always going to go into the Champions League. It's a massive springboard for Tottenham, but as Ian says, Manchester United, without European football and without the budget for a Champions League, it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the summer.
Mark Ogden, senior writer for ESPN, is with us. If you might not make it, but if you were in an Ange press conference, what would your first question to him be?
Are you staying or are you going? I think that's the question we'll all have to ask if he's going to hang around, but it might not be his decision. I think the reality is it probably won't be his decision, but I think, Ange deserves a lot of credit. Tottenham deserve a lot of credit. Let's be honest, people will still belittle this trophy because it's the Europa League. But I think if you take away the Premier League, if you're a club in the Premier League, winning a European trophy is bigger than winning the FA Cup and the League Cup. It's a European trophy; they don't come around very often. So he's had a great season. He's won a trophy, and it might be a little bit controversial here, but I think now Tottenham have had a better season than Arsenal, because let's go back to 1984 when Spurs won the UEFA Cup. Where did Arsenal finish that season? Nobody knows.
They've not had a better. Come on, it's not better than Arsenal.
But
I mean, I understand the trophy, but they're the fourth bottom of the Premier League. I mean,
I know, but they've won a trophy. And what I'm saying is, Michael, that so everyone talks about Spurs winning the UEFA Cup in '84, and it was a big trophy that the people are legends at the club. Nobody remembers where Arsenal finished that season, whether they finished second, third, fourth, or fifth. Winning a trophy is what it's all about for football teams. Those fans tonight have won a trophy. They've got a much happier ending to the season than the Arsenal fans have, because they've won nothing. So
Chris and Robbie are on their way in about 15 minutes' time. So I would imagine that will be something that will be thrown in straight away. 08085 909 693. What Tottenham fans would say, Michael, and in fact what a lot of fans would say, Arsenal fans might not say this, but fans are in it to win things, aren't they? That you want to see your team win stuff. And you know what a perfect season it has been for that this season. Tottenham in the Europa League, Palace in the Cup, Newcastle in the League Cup. Perfect.
Yeah, it's been amazing for that, to see different football clubs have this winning feeling, and that's what we obviously all want. But just a quick one on the Arsenal situation. You have to look at, say, Champions League, etc., where we can't be too critical. And from an ex-Spurs player, it's a night about Spurs today. It's fantastic that they've gone on and done it. Crystal Palace, we watched them do it with amazing journey that they had, and Newcastle scenes were just absolutely astonishing. So it is special. This is what football is about, winning things. But overall as well, is you have to look at the balance, the season, what we can bring, where we can improve, and yes, this has been a wonderful journey in this cup competition, and that's what we're celebrating tonight. And I'm going to look at the league another time.
Just waiting for the runners-up medals to be presented. We just have to wait for the 27 different officiating officials to have their photos taken. The Tottenham players, Ian, have formed a guard of honour and waiting as Manchester United go through to shake the players' hands, a beaming Daniel Levy and a very uncomfortable looking Jim Radcliffe.
Yes, they're just going through meeting all the dignitaries. The UEFA president Alexander Chefrin is also there. Bruno Fernandes goes first of all to collect his runners-up medal. This was Manchester United's 9th major Euro final. They have now failed to win 4 of the last 5 of them, but as you say, the Spurs players, and they're predominantly all white, forming a guard of honour. And it's interesting as well that a number of the players have got their national flags tied around their waist. So you've got Romero, a World Cup winner, with a flag of Argentina, the Tottenham captain Son with a flag of South Korea. You can see the flag of Senegal for Pape Sarr, Brazil for Richarlison, and that of Uruguay and Bentancur as well. And now just the last stragglers of Manchester United. Of course, Ruben Amorim finishing off the line, just getting a little consoling hug from Sir Jim Radcliffe, having a word with Daniel Levy as well. As Ruben Amorim, I mean, basically, it's been his Europa League form that has taken a lot of the heat off the Manchester United manager, bearing in mind he's only collected 2 points from a possible 24 in the Premier League, without a win in 8, their worst run of form in the top flight since 1990. They thought that the Europa League might have been an opportunity to salvage their season, but instead a disappointing season for Tottenham Hotspur. We were talking before about it could have been their worst season since relegation in 1977, but forget that now. It's their best season in 41 years, and Ange Postecoglou is the first onto the tiny podium in black and orange down below. Gets a handshake and a hug from Daniel Levy. He gets that winner's medal. He's delivered on his promise. He's followed by Vicario, those excellent saves that he made in the second half. Porro, of course, has been such a consistent performer throughout the season. This is 50th appearance tonight. Reguilon is also there. He had that spell at actually kisses the trophy at Manchester United, didn't he, Reguilon? I think they get 50 50 winners' medals now that are handed out by UEFA, as now they gather on that triangular platform in black and orange down below. The goal scorer Brennan Johnson kissing the Europa League trophy. Archie Gray, that Gray dynasty, his grandfather Frank won the European Cup with Forest in 1980. His great uncle Eddie, 2 Fairs Cup with Leeds United. Bergvall, who's out injured, is getting a hug there as well. And slowly but surely we're going through the line of the Tottenham Hotspur players. Even Kulusevski, with his right leg in a brace and his crutches, is making his way. And in fact, he won't risk going onto the tiny platform. He's going to just stay on firm ground and stay on the grass as Son waits. And what a proud moment this will be for Tottenham. An empty stadium away towards our left, and then so many white shirts waiting to capture the moment that they have waited so long for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. See Timo Werner there as well. Solanke getting his medal. They don't actually, they will drape it over the head of Kulusevski, who's got to just reach forward as he leans onto his left crutch. And we're almost at the end. Bentancur there too. Romero, a World Cup winner, can add the title of being a Europa League winner, as the crutches now are just thrown to the floor by Kulusevski as he gives Porro a hug, and then he has to struggle to stoop down just to move them out the way. Someone's going to stumble over them, I can tell you, because very, very soon, and Postecoglou right at the heart of it, as Son has a lasting handshake with Alexander Chefrin. The Europa League trophy is the heaviest of them all at 15 kilos, but that weight of burden that has hung over Tottenham Hotspur has been lifted, because they have won a European title. They are the second English side to win this competition in its various guises 3 times. 1972, 1984, and now 2025, as the golden ticker tape showers the celebrating Tottenham players. And that long, long wait, 40 years and 363 days to be precise, is over. Tottenham will celebrate Europa League winners and in the Champions League next season. Mark.
And what a night for those Tottenham fans, Paul. You know, go back to it, the same way we talked about what a night for the Newcastle fans and the Crystal Palace fans. Kind of got the hat-trick tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge weight lifted, it's a huge burden. We quite often say at the start of the season, you offer a Tottenham Hotspur fan, would you finish 17th if you won a trophy? And it's got to the point now where a lot of the Tottenham fans say, yes, we just want silverware. We're desperate for silverware, we want a trophy. And they've done that this season. They've not only got a trophy, they've got a massive trophy that Ange Postecoglou is waving around now in front of the Tottenham Hotspur supporters. And they've also got a place, most unlikely place, in the Champions League.
Does tonight, Michael Brown, I'll bring Mark Ogden back here in a moment, and Ange is holding that Europa League trophy now and waving it towards the fans before handing it back to his players. If Tottenham and Manchester United were in the running for the same players this summer, does tonight change who a player might want to go to?
Who would they want to go to? I think it's...
No, does it change? Would it? Do you think something like tonight would have a bearing?
It does, yeah. That definitely does, yeah. I think the point is with a Spurs situation is the one question you're going to be asking is how much money is going to be spent because of this success, who is going to be the manager, but it puts them into a whole different bracket, doesn't it, because the delivery of what it brings, European football again, and that is the difference. Manchester United are always going to be that super football club that still attracts big players. Yes, it's not necessarily the top bracket anymore, and that's going to be the biggest thing they've got to try and learn to bridge, to get better as a collective. But you know, it's just Spurs has always been a club that you want to attract. The issue is the top players the club have not always been in a position to spend that type of money. They've had their fingers burned on certain players where they've gone a little bit more, and he's always been quite conservative. So he might be able to bring a player in now with this success that does make a difference.
Let's go back to Mark Ogden, ESPN senior writer. You've watched and covered Manchester United for many seasons. Are they just a shell of a club?
Well, yeah, they are. I mean, it's not a happy place right now. It's not, on the pitch, after the pitch, they've lost a major final, but obviously the job cuts, the fans aren't happy with ticket prices, there's situations with the ownership, so nothing is going particularly well at United right now. And I think, obviously, this will be a massive blow financially in terms of prestige, not in the Champions League, not even in Europe next season, so it's a big hit for Man United, but in many ways, when the dust settles, it might be a good thing in the long run, because it might make them, as Michael says, do things better. They might have to start to learn to recruit better, to offload players that have hung around too long a little bit quicker, and just find a way to get more value for money in the market. So they're going to have to work harder to get the players in, and that's not a bad thing, because I remember when Jurgen Klopp took charge at Liverpool halfway through the 2015-16 season. They had a bad season. I mean, not as bad as Man United's, but they missed out on the European position. But they got to the Europa League final, lost to Sevilla, so that was their Champions League route gone. But by not being in Europe that season, Liverpool had to use it to their benefit. Obviously, Klopp's a great coach, and he was able to find a way to get better players in. Ruben Amorim has to do what Klopp did, and that's not going to be easy. But not being in Europe next season might actually help Amorim from a football sense, but obviously it's going to hit them in terms of players they can bring in and players they can get rid of.
Do you think Amorim has questions to answer tonight, in the sense of the formation never changed, as Paul Robinson said in commentary, the substitutions were like for like right until the final one, I think, when Mainu came on?
Chappers, I think absolutely. I think he has questions to answer, and there's been a lot of questions that he's had to answer that he's not had to answer, because there's been so many other issues that have been hanging over the club, that the lack of quality in the squad, the ownership, as I say, and Amorim's had a bit of a pass, because he's working players that aren't his players. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the selection tonight was a gamble. It wasn't one that we've seen before with the formation that he put, the team that he played, and he was very late with his substitutions, and he's persevered with Rasmus Højlund for a lot longer than people would do. So I think you have to question Amorim, but I think he's had a pass so far because of the situation he walked into. But as soon as next season starts, I think he's under massive pressure, because he'll have more of his players in, he'll have time on the training ground that he wants, and if it doesn't work next season and the elements of next season, then we can start saying, look, maybe he's not cut out for this job just yet. Maybe he's too young for it. Maybe he's too rigid. A good coach would be more pragmatic, wouldn't he, and change things around us to get results.
Let's go back to the other coach, Ange Postecoglou. Sami Mokbel, BBC Sports senior football correspondent, joins us. What's your latest understanding then, as I see an image of him beaming? I haven't seen that smile very often this season, as I watch him beaming towards the Spurs fans with a medal round his neck.
It's bedlam here, I have to say, and I'm just seeing those pictures now of Ange Postecoglou. He's so happy, and I have to say, given the season that he's had, I'm chuffed for him. But it still remains to be seen whether he'll be here at the start of next season. The direction of travel has been for so long that Ange Postecoglou would leave the club ahead of next season. Does this victory, does the euphoria here change matters? I'm not sure it does. I think if I was a betting man, I would probably still put my money on him not being here next season. But what I think happened tonight is that he gets to go out on his own terms. He gets to go out as a winner. And instead of sloping out of the back door, he can go with his head held high through the front door. And it's testament to what Ange Postecoglou has put together here, that they've had such an unforgettable season domestically, but he has somehow managed to deliver on that promise of winning in his second season. And if he does go out, as I expect him to do so, he goes out a winner, and you can't really say much more than that.
But Paul Robinson, you look at his first season, when there was a smile on his face the majority of the time, and they just missed out on Champions League, and there was a smile on his face. Now this season, for whatever reason, there hasn't been that smile, but mainly because it hasn't been going very well on the pitch. But everything has felt very tense and very unhappy, and obviously the league results show that. If he gets back some of his, I don't know, positivity after tonight, is there still a chance for him, do you think?
That's why we're having this conversation. I mean, that is a decision that only the Tottenham board can make, or Ange Postecoglou himself can make. If the Tottenham board want to change, listen, repeating what we said, the domestic campaign has been absolutely awful. You take this European trophy away, the defeats that they've had, the performances of the side. I think the first 10 games of last season probably saved him his job for a long time. I think the injuries that they've had this season, the problems they've dealt with.
If tonight, Paul, is a platform for him getting some kind of happiness back, which from the outside doesn't appear to have been there this season.
No, it's been a battle.
Can it also be the springboard? Yeah, can it also then be the springboard for performances?
Two questions. One, if Daniel Levy wants him to give him that opportunity, to use that as a springboard. And two, has Ange Postecoglou got the fight in him, and does he still want to carry on? Does he want to take that opportunity?
It'll depend on the recruitment as well, Paul. What's going to come their way, what type of players, how can they take him up to the next level? Surely that's got to come into play.
But surely the decision's already been made. I said before the game, you do not want to fall into an Erik ten Hag situation. He won a game for Manchester United, the FA Cup final. That saved his job. They gave him 100 million to spend and sacked him 4 months later. That will be at the back of Daniel Levy's mind.
That's a really good point now. I don't think that will be at the back of Daniel Levy's mind. I think that, from what I understand, that is at the forefront of Daniel Levy's mind. I think he saw what happened to Man United at the start of this season, having stuck with Erik ten Hag, and he will not want to make that same mistake. Now, we'll go back to the point, does the euphoria of tonight change things? I think once the ticker tape goes down and tonight is out of the way, I think that decision will be made, and I think Daniel Levy will remain ruthless and cool about that. And I would still be shocked if Ange Postecoglou is the manager here next season.
I agree. I don't think Tottenham's hierarchy will make a U-turn based on emotion. They'll base it on what they've already come to their decision with, and it would surprise me more for him to remain and stay on rather than to leave. And as I said earlier in the commentary, 48 points from his last 46 league games is telling. I don't think they'll make that emotional.
Deno, would the manager want to stay with what's gone on? Do you know, like, he might actually be thinking it's time for him to go also.
Well,
that's...
he was asked that in the press conference yesterday, and he says he's still got work to do. He still thinks that there's unfinished business.
Is he allowed to say anything different when he's under contract?
When we hear from him later on.
Mark Ogden, final one to you. Does this completely alter Manchester United's transfer plans this summer?
Well, I was told earlier this week that Matthias Cunha is pretty much done. That can be done, no problem. They've budgeted for Liam Delap as well, so the money's there for Delap and Cunha. But I think the situation with Delap is that Chelsea are also interested in Delap, so would he want to go to Chelsea rather than Man United? Because at least Chelsea, whether they finish the Champions League or not, they'll be in Europe next season. So, that's the problem they've got immediately. Can they attract players that they would have had if during the Champions League? But it'll certainly hit the budgets. They're going to be £100 million down, so that will mean that they can't go for the players they want. It will mean that it'll be harder to get people like Marcus Rashford and Anthony and Jadon Sancho out of the club, because obviously they're going to have to maybe pay a chunk of their wages, but that money won't be there. So it won't help, but it might help in the long run in terms of making them do their jobs better and being more astute in the market. But in the short term, no, it won't help at all.
Mark, Sammy, thank you very much. Get final thoughts from Michael and Paul and Ian after Chris Sutton tells us what he wants people to call him about.
Well, the Europa League final.
Well, I thought it might be.
Okay. Look, I'm absolutely delighted for Ange Postecoglou and the sort of flack he's taken this season. I mean, this week somebody inferring that he was a clown. I mean, there's been so much disrespect towards him. So I'm delighted that his Tottenham team got over the line. But what happens next? I just heard you talking to Sammy Mockbell there. Uncertainty over Ange's future. So I want to hear from Tottenham fans. Should Ange stay on or should he go? It has been a disappointing Premier League season, but Spurs don't win trophies. They've won more than Arsenal this season now. And what happens to Manchester United? Is Ruben Amorim on borrowed time?
Why did you choose Arsenal as them winning more trophies then?
Well, they're rivals.
Are you being deliberately provocative?
No, I was just being honest. I mean, you think deliberately provocative. I think honest.
Do you want to hear from Southend fans tonight?
What's happened in Southend? Is that bad? Yes, Southend fans, brilliant.
Yeah.
Must have been a good night for them.
Very good night for them.
Yes.
They've beaten Forest Green Rovers 4-2 on penalties in the National League Promotion Playoff semi-final after it finished 2-2 at the end of extra time. England's women beat West Indies by 8 wickets in the first women's T20 as well at Canterbury. Michael, final thoughts?
Final thoughts, it's an amazing night. Ange finally did it with the question marks were out. I know Chris will discuss later, he's very fond of Ange, that's for certain, but he's took a lot of stick and some of it being correct. He's reacted in certain press conferences not in the way he should do, but tonight he's gone and said he'll do it in his second season. He's absolutely delivered. The scenes are brilliant and enjoy the night, that's the point.
Paul, you've watched a lot of good European football this season, lots of exciting European football this season. The Spurs fans singing in the background won't care, but tonight wasn't one of them.
Yeah, it wasn't a classic. Certainly won't be looking back through the archives to watch the game again, but they got the job done, and that's what they did in the quarter-final against Frankfurt. They did it in the semi-final against Bodo, and they found a way to be more pragmatic, more defensive, and they've won ugly. And like Brownie says, this is a night now not really to ask Ange Postecoglou about his future, although he will be getting asked, he'll be getting grilled about it. It's a night for Ange Postecoglou to savour, to enjoy. The Spurs players and especially those supporters enjoy the moment and then see what unfolds in the next few days. But there is certainly a lot of topics and subjects, subplots that I'm sure we'll cover on both of these two teams.
I think at the start of the season, Ian, if you'd done Liverpool to win the title, Newcastle the League Cup and Palace the FA Cup, I think it was about 2,500 to 1. I think if you'd have then thrown Tottenham in to win the Europa League, God knows what that would have taken it to.
Well, I know the other day somebody was telling me it was I think about 11, 12 to 1 for the double just for Crystal Palace and Tottenham in more recent days. But you're right, not many people would have predicted this outcome, I don't think. And for Ange Postecoglou, I think it's a special night for him. You know, first Australian to lead a side into a major European final. His 100th game is marked with success, and